himself from the brink and the precipice of being completely written off by most of us into a position now where a lot of us, or a lot of people, will think they can get out in spite of either the irony of Nottingham Forest because of the managerial circumstance, or at the expense of Tottenham Hotspur and all that goes with that, getting relegated. But I still feel, and I'm not going to change my view, that West Ham might find themselves still getting relegated. And I do think, for whatever reason, and I'm happy to be wrong, and I may well be, often am, that some way Tottenham are going to find their way through, and not because of the manager, because the players and the realisation of the players. It will be. We often talk about players in dressing rooms that can get teams across lines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan van range. Scoring a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. Chelsea got away lucky in escaping a transfer ban, that according to a former player turned coach. The Blues have been fined £10.75 million for 36 secret transfer payments during the Abramovich era. Here's the Guardian's Manchester correspondent.
I did actually put on X yesterday. Does this mean the trophies won during this period should have an asterisk next to it? I'm not the only person to be looking at this. And so City would be in the sort of same kind of region if, and I have to say again, that, they obviously deny all wrongdoing, but if they were to be found guilty of any of the charges.
Jamie Jackson there wondering what Chelsea's lenient punishment, in his words, means for City's 115 charges. Next, never mind the silence on a new contract. We're told Steve Clarke is under no pressure at all. Scotland are gearing up for their first World Cup finals in a generation, and our very own Ali McCoist reckons the SFA will reward Clarke for getting them there.
I think they'll offer him a contract. I think he'll address the situation as well, because I think there might be one or two clubs maybe be interested in him. I don't think he'll be short of an offer, Stevie, but I certainly think he's done enough.
Clarke says the ball's in the Scottish FA's court. His current deal is up in the summer. Ahead of the World Cup, 86 days to go, by the way, FIFA have denied Iran's request to have their games moved to Mexico. It follows Donald Trump's suggestion that he couldn't guarantee the squad's safety amid the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. And into League Two, where Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new permanent head coach. Twice a caretaker, most recently the interim manager. He's joined in the dugout by assistants Nathan Pond and Mark Yates. There's plenty more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The Health Secretary says 700 doses of precautionary antibiotics have been given to young people who may be at risk of meningitis in Kent, and Israel claims to have killed a top Iranian security chief. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Get a free vehicle safety check at all of our 600 centres nationwide to keep you safe on the road. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Warm sunshine on the way for most of us, if it's not there already. Rain moving out to the northwest.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, former Sunderland and Newcastle midfielder Jack Colback joins us in the studio, as does Razor Ruddock.
Yeah.
Should be lively. Steve Harmison will also give us his take on Liam Livingston's attack on the England management, and we'll decide how much we pay for our haircut through darts.
Yes, an interesting way to this darts. Yeah, back to Razor. South American expert Tim Vickery will be here live in London to chat about his new book. We'll get some more of Andy's nonsense by numbers. An ex-fighter, Sonny Edwards, on his new life in boxing, supporting Chelsea and being a Wimbledon ball boy.
Yeah, it's a lot of ball boy stuff in the news at the moment. There's all this, plus, of course, there's another big night in the Champions League, well, sort of. So we'll be chatting to Perry Groves, amongst others.
Yeah, 2 teams that have got a mountain to climb this evening, Chelsea and City. Arsenal, you kind of sense they'll be fine, but they've got a few injuries.
Yeah,
you never know.
yeah.
Perry's going to join us on that front. We're going to also talk about maybe a bit of churn. All good teams need a bit of churn. And Arsenal may be considering it over the summer. Some big names could be on the move. Anyway, we'll chat to Perry about that shortly. But it is 6 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a real dilemma for me because I bought the tickets for tonight's game.
Well, you would do, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're very expensive for Chelsea tickets, you know, and but you know it's PSG, but then you know normally when it's 3-0, I go home. I don't turn up the kick-off. It's 3 o'clock.
How many times are you going to be saying, like, you'll get there tonight, everybody was saying early goal. Never know, early goal.
Yeah. But it's all going back and forth. Should we go? Should we not go? My daughter-in-law was going to go to Arsenal, but now she's sold her... I said, that's mad. She sold her tickets for a game that's still alive.
Oh, very much alive.
Whereas we're going to, as my son puts it, the most pointless 90 minutes of club football history. And...
you ask the Liverpool fans that against Barcelona,
well,
you'll be dead and buried in a tie.
No, you can be, of course. But if it wasn't such a faff, you know, I'd sort of go on the 5% chance we force to extra time. So I said to him, you go, because it's easier for him to go. I said, you go, and if we're 2-0 up after 20 minutes, I'll get in an Uber. I'll get down to the...
Is that what you're going to do?
No, I'm going to go in the end. So
talk about thick and thin.
Yeah. So, of course, he says to me, that'd be a waste of 20 quid. No way they're not scoring. I said to him, yes, I arrive. Dembele! I've just got in a cab.
That's the problem, and it's the problem with Real Madrid as well. You've got 2 teams that are pretty frightening on the break. So the more you push up,
yeah,
you know, you never know. You got a couple of early goals, Andy. You just unnerve them, get the crowd going.
I said to him, yeah, I think we have to be at the ground by 7:30 if we want to see PSG take the lead after 2 minutes. What a waste of time.
We're all a bit like that, aren't we?
Well, you know, what did
I say to the bloke in our chippy? We're going to get more battered than that piece of cod you're about to give me. I said to him on Saturday night, and we got a draw.
On a positive note, though, I really enjoyed last night's game. What a difference football is when both teams want to win. It's so rare.
Well, we did our bet builder with Paddy, Pound, Fern, Buckley yesterday, and our expectations were pretty low. I was saying you didn't see more than a goal in it, and I thought Brentford would win, probably 1-0. And look at that, what an entertaining crack.
Because both teams went for it. You know, I don't know, you start thinking about, what about 4 points for a win?
Jamie Carragher's right. I mean, we can all see it. I mean, it's not the most startling thing, but he said Wolves are not the worst team in the league at the moment. I wonder who is.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not. I mean, they're playing some really good stuff. To be 2-0 down when you're already down, I mean, they've obviously not given up. But when you're 2-0 down and effectively you're already down, to put that level of fighting, to come back and nearly nick it by hitting the bar.
Oh, yeah, no, they deserve to get something out of the game. But then Brian Nelson, they said, didn't get any purchase.
Oh, yeah, Reece Nelson. Not Brian Nelson.
No, Reece Nelson.
Reece Nelson.
Didn't get enough purchase.
That was right off the shoulder. It was right. He missed it completely, didn't he?
Another Route 1 goal, and why not? You know, it's just vanity from these coaches to rule out the tackle.
I'm suddenly become a very big fan of the Route 1 goal.
Well, you've got to mix it up. That's the whole point, isn't it? And if you're going to go long, don't go long with one bloke on his own. You know, get some players around him if you're going to go long.
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing.
We're going to chat to Tim Vickery later on. He's got a new book out. It's a very fascinating subject, really. I mean, it's South American history of the World Cup, and you look at some of the great stories from the World Cup involving South American nations. We were saying earlier, one of the key points is when we were kids, Andy, in the old days of black and white telly, but still, even up until the 70s, there was something really exotic about seeing South American players in a World Cup, because that was the only chance you ever got. Like that Peru side, or the Scotland fans.
There was a distinct difference in styles between European football and South American football.
Yeah.
And of course, now everybody plays the same
it's
way.
like sort of amorphous, isn't it? But it's true. It was exotic South American football in those days. But
the kits were
the
old Peru kit,
especially.
That's
so we're going to have a chat with Tim. Look at some of the great stories. I mean, we're coming up to the centenary year of the first World Cup, aren't we? In Uruguay. So Tim will be here later. He's also going to look at the makeup of that Brazil squad. Igor Thiago getting there. Tim will explain why that is so difficult for a player to do that. And Ryan has got in there as well, hasn't he, of Bournemouth, which is really impressive.
Yeah, he looks good, though.
He is good.
Another good
absolutely. So we'll be chatting to Tim later. Jack Colback's going to be with us. Jack's just called it a day. He had a short spell in non-league. He's a man that did cross the Rubicon. Not many people that go from Sunderland to Newcastle or vice versa, but he did. So we'll be having a chat with Jack in the studio, see what the future holds for him. I think at 36, calling it a day. Razor Ruddock's going to pop in, tell us about a game he's involved in for a good cause, and I'm sure he'll talk. We had the Razor Ruddock derby at the weekend, didn't we? Liverpool, Tottenham, so we'll get his take on that. Sonny Edwards from the world of boxing. And, it's true, a barber up in, I think is he in Doncaster? I better check. Let's have a look. Where is he? He's in Bolton. A barber's in Bolton. They are deciding on how much you pay for your haircut via darts. So you go up, and ideally you've got to stay on the board, otherwise there's a forfeit for just sort of chucking it into the wall.
Yeah, he cuts your hair like Luke Littler.
Yeah, that's it. That's the forfeit. And a financial penalty as well. But, it's not a bad idea.
It's a good idea.
So you want to aim for, you got to throw the 3 darts, get them in the ball. So you want 3 ones, you pay £3 for your haircut.
That's good.
But if you get the bullseye, you get a free haircut, but you're taking a risk there. You could land anywhere around the bullseye, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So we'll be chatting to the owner of the Darts Barbers a little bit later on. And
presumably people have the option not to take part, just pay
exactly.
a normal price for the haircut.
It would be a bit harsh. I don't know if you saw the pictures of the Real Madrid players arriving in Manchester for the game. Kylian Mbappe, he'd been shopping and he's got a Dior bag with written on it, in cold blood, Truman Capote, right?
Oh, right, okay.
So that's on the bag.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. It does seem really odd. I don't know if anybody at Dior's actually read the book. Yeah. It's about the slaughter of a family. I've read the book. I read it years ago. It's a brilliant book. It's like he went down there and sort of it was like a true crime podcast before podcasts. It's like almost a forerunner to that. And it's the story of what happened to this family. But it was a family, 2 daughters, mum and dad, sort of brutally killed by these 2 guys who were later executed. So why put that on a shopping bag? Don't get that Poundland,
I think Christian Dior himself, he's a big talkSPORT listener.
Well, if Christian's listening...
Hello, Adrian. Christian here. Not happy about Lille.
Hello, Christian. Great show, lad. But no, if he's listening, Christian, he should... Well, he's not, is he? He should... I would take him to task at the moment because it's not something to put on the side of a shopping bag, is it?
Not really, no.
I don't know if anybody is... I don't know if any of Mbappe's people said, do you know it was about a family being wiped out, don't you? I mean, it's a bit dark, isn't it?
It's very dark.
Put on a shopping bag.
Not good, really.
Anyway, thank you, caller. You're listening to talkSPORT. That's really got my goat.
I know, I can see you were very more upset than that you were about Tottenham.
I know it was a long time ago, but it's horrible.
No, it's not nice. I agree with you. I wouldn't have even known.
Yeah. Anyway,
being fairly illiterate.
In a rapid gear change, Perry Groves joins us next to... He'll won't be happy either. To look ahead to tonight's game against Bayer Leverkusen live on talkSPORT. Talk about a bit of churn at Arsenal. And, of course, the man of the moment, Max Dowman. Very sensible what Mikel Arteta is saying. Let's all turn the heat. Let's just turn it down to 7 or 8, shall we?
I must just read this.
He's a lad.
This fantastic letter on Max Dowman in the Sun today.
Yeah.
Very quickly, he said from Barry in Bucks. He said, at just 16, Max Dowman has become the Premier League's youngest ever scorer. Yeah, all right, we know that. And suddenly, some people are comparing him to Lionel Messi. Max has a long way to go, and he has a lot of talent, and if he keeps performing like that, he'll be a good player. But Messi, I don't think so. Well, give him a chance, mate. He's only 16. How do you know?
How do you know?
It's brilliant, isn't it, these people?
Anyway, Perry Groves kicks us off. Jack Colback in the studio in the first hour. Razor Ruddock. Lots more to come between now and 4. To get in touch on anything at all this afternoon, talksport.com. I went very high there.
You did, yeah.
Talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089. You can tweet to TSH&J. That's TSHANDJ. Give us a call. 03717223344. You listen to Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Check out their wide range of Garden power tools with brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Tool Station.
We're going to find out just how good is this young teenage sensation, Max Dowman. In August, he became the Premier League's second youngest debutant behind Nwaneri, as he became the Premier League's youngest ever goal scorer, which is incredible. And the back page this morning, like Sir John Terry, Alan Pardew, are already getting carried away and calling Dowman the English Messi. And I'm delighted to see joining us now as a resident Arsenal fan and Gabby's biggest wind-up merchant on the planet, Joel Bayer. Joel, good morning, mate.
Joel. Good morning, Ellie and Gabby. How are you both?
Ah, mate, listen, we're absolutely buzzing, but you, I can see you're just rubbing your hands there, mate. That weekend, mate, that might be the weekend that clinched it. Am I going too far saying that?
You're not going too far. I don't think you're going far enough, Ellie, if you ask me, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, an amazing weekend. Can you imagine Max Dowman this morning in a couple of hours?
Oh, mate.
Wow. Oh, mental. Daniel Sturridge did the little walk when he was on the show, yeah. But
exactly
really,
what he should be doing.
That was 60,000 Arsenal fans on the weekend, honestly.
But it's been coming, hasn't it? He probably looked at it and thought, I wish I had more game time than I've had.
Yeah.
He's been injured a little bit, so you can't blame him there. But, you know, he's done exceptionally well. The good thing is he's actually got a nice imprint now for when we become champions. He can look back at the season and go, I contributed. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Innit, Gabby? It's amazing, innit,
Ali,
Gabby?
this guy is unbearable, mate.
When
Arsenal win the league, right, I've either got to work from home or I'm going on a world tour, mate. Yeah,
I'll retire.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How do you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Yep, choice of listening. Live games tonight. Arsenal Leverkusen on talkSPORT and Chelsea PSG. The game Andy's off to after 20 minutes, depending on the score in an Uber. on
No, I'm going for the start.
Okay, then see what happens.
Yeah, we're going out for dinner and then we're going to the game.
Right. Okay. Nice. Let's hear from before we chat to Perry Groves, former Arsenal winger. Let's hear from Mikel Arteta. He said he was asked if he's feeling more pressure to win this season, having not won a trophy for 6 years.
probably the will to win increases year by year when you've been so close as well. But stay focused, live the present, enjoy it as well, because we have to feel privileged where we are, and then obviously have that will, that bite to make it happen.
There we are, Mikel Arteta. You do sense they shouldn't have a problem tonight, but I mean, you never know, do you? Let's have a chat then to, as we said, former Arsenal winger and our very own Perry Groves. Good afternoon, Perry.
Afternoon, boys. How are we doing?
Good. You quite chilled about tonight, Perry? You see what you saw in last week? Was there much about Leverkusen that frightened you?
You know, it's not chilled about Leverkusen. I think Arsenal fans are a little bit more chilled in the Champions League than what we are in the Premier League, because obviously the Premier League coming second, 3 seasons on the trot, you know, the pressure obviously from the outside, quite rightly, that you've got to see this one over the line. So I think, I'm not saying you can enjoy it totally, but you can enjoy the Champions League a little bit more. But Leverkusen will give us, they only lost one in the last 14 matches, like all competitions, and they're very well set up defensively. And in the first leg, Kafane, the young centre-forward, he gave Saliba and Gabriel more problems that I'd seen any centre-forward give them the whole of this season, because he was very physical, held it up, tried to get him behind. So this isn't just one of those ones where you think you're going to roll them over.
Arsenal are doing what all good teams do, is win when they're not playing particularly well. But they have been struggling a bit, haven't they, in matches recently? I mean, they weren't great against Everton, but they found a way.
Exactly. And you saw teams with Mourinho and Conte didn't play particularly, brilliant sort of Harlem Globetrotters football. But no Chelsea fan cared, because you won trophies and you won the big ones. And that's what it is. And it's very difficult at this stage of the season to play free-flowing, open tracksy football because of the jeopardy that's in the games. And as you said there, Anne, what you have to do is you find ways of winning. And if you go to the Everton game, Everton could play a little bit free up because they're under sort of no pressure. It was lucky that they didn't have the 2 first-choice centre-halves, Tarkowski and Branthwaite. So sometimes that falls for you. And you've got the wonder kid, to come on, and he gives Max Dowman gives everybody a list, and he'll be on the bench for every single, so long as he's fit, for every game for the rest of this season.
Oh, we'll come back to it in a minute. The other thing that goes for you are decisions quite often, and we've had the key match incident panel saying today that there should have been a penalty for Brighton in the closing seconds when Vifa was tugged back or thrown to the ground by Gabriel Martinelli. And look, that's not Arsenal. That's what often happens when a team's going well. Those little key moments, those little decisive moments go your way.
Yeah, every team could say that, to be fair. It does seem to, you do seem to get the rub of the game when things are going really well. I can go back to the Everton game a while earlier on in the season where Saliba boots the back of Beto's calf, and we don't get that against us. So, it's, do you know what I mean? You could call it luck. You could call it, big sides sometimes get, sort of decisions go in their favour. When you're playing away at Old Trafford in the old days, I can't remember when I played there, they ever conceded a penalty ever. You could get rugby tackled around the waist and there could be a scrum, and there wouldn't be a penalty given against you at Old Trafford. So that goes, for the bigger sides.
Yeah.
Sunday's final is a big game, because if Arsenal win that, first of all, it's the first leg of this quadruple. Second of all, it's going to give them such massive confidence going into the rest of the season. So, if they don't win it, they're still probably going to win the league, but it would be a good game to win, I think.
Yeah, psychologically, Andy, but I think that psychological barrier between us and Man City has gone now, because over the past 2 or 3 seasons, we've had really good results against them. And if you go back to the Premier League game at the Emirates, Pep Guardiola went all Mike Bassett, didn't he? Went 4-4-2. You're going to have to try. I'd never seen him set a team up like that ever in his managerial career, where he's like, actually, at the minute, we can't take you on because we're not good as you, so we'll try and hit you on the counter-attack, which they did with Erling Haaland's goal. It won't be like that on Sunday, because Man City have improved since earlier on in the season. But you two boys have seen with Man City, that aura's gone. I sort of equate them to, remember when Mike Tyson used to run out when he was like 19, 20, and his black boots, didn't he, no socks, run out the ring, middle of the ring, and smash some and knock them out in sort of 2 or 3 rounds. And he had that fear factor. Buster Douglas knocked him to the floor and beat him, and Mike Tyson was never the same again. And that's what this Man City side are like at the moment.
I think interesting though, if they were to lose tonight and lose, they're not going to. But if they would lose tonight and lose on Sunday, then that would have the opposite effect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's unlikely to happen. I think, to be fair to City, and we're going to come on to City a little bit later, I think it was Bernardo Silva's in the press conference yesterday. This is a bit of a team in transition. Not that they haven't signed good players, but there has been a bit of churn, and we're going to talk about Arsenal doing that shortly. You know, you lose good players, you lose battle-hardened European Champions League players. And a lot of these players they've got now have never played Champions League before, certainly not at this level. So, you know, it is a bit of a team in transition, Perry. They could come again. They've got very good players.
Yeah, well, I look at Pep Guardiola. It's whether he can get his intent. When you look back now and you see that they won 6 out of 7 Premier League titles on a trot, the intensity that he then transmitted to his players was off the scale. And it's whether Pep Guardiola then has that intensity to go again. You know, we've got obviously the 115 or 130 charges that we still don't know sort of what's going on.
I won't worry about those.
If they got found guilty, he said that he would go. So there's a lot, you know, going off the pitch at Man City. Yeah. But they're just, and you've got Rodri, who's sort of in the Virgil van Dijk when he come back, you know, when he had the knee operation, it took Van Dijk a good season to get back anywhere near to what he was, and Rodri's exactly the same, so he's not that force, you know, when he just sits in front of the back four. And when you're playing against Man City now, you can see teams that actually fancy their chances, even if Man City are 1-0 up, like we saw obviously with West Ham. They always give you a sniff, which never happened before.
Now, Andrea Berti, your sporting director, big piece by Gary Jacobs in the Time today, and he's talking about churn and a big summer and maybe some regular faces at the club could be moving on. He mentions Martinelli potentially to get the balance right, to get the age right. Possibly players like Lewis Skelly and Ranieri looking at permanent moves. So it could be a sort of summer of some tweaking. But you know, if you do go on and win a couple of trophies, then good teams have got to keep getting better, haven't they?
Where does Churn play? Is he like holding midfield player?
Andreas Churn, he's very good.
He keeps it ticking over, does he?
He's in the German second division at the moment.
But look, when you're at the levels that Arsenal are at the moment, and obviously it's a big if, and if you win the Premier League or if you win one of the big trophies, there's going to be collateral damage. That's what happens. And because of I saw a stat today about the influence that Arteta calls them the finishers now, the impactors that have had in the Premier League. They've been involved in 21 goals because there's no drop-off. When you're bringing the players on, the actual level goes up because the opposition are a little bit more tired and you're bringing the same quality on. And what happens now is, if you're not a certain standard, you'll be gone. So you mentioned Miles Lewis-Skelly there, you mentioned Ranieri, academy products. So on the PSR rules, that's pure profit. And you've got Max Dowman. If you're obviously Ranieri, you'll be looking at Max Dowman thinking, oh, really? Did you need to really come on and do that? That's me gone.
Yeah.
So that's just what happens.
Yeah. And he's a good play. We can't write him off.
We're out of time, but just very quickly, we had a chat ages ago about Max Dowman because there was a buzz about him and he hadn't played then and he was on the fringes, but we'd heard about him. And I said to you, Perry, because I was involved with the club, I said, is it all hype, Perry? And you said, no. He said, I've seen him playing. This kid is just brilliant. So now he's proving in the first team. But we're nearly out of time. But in a word, or a couple of words, should he go at the World Cup, Perry?
You know what? I sort of got laughed a bit on the show on Sunday. I think he is a wild card because if he keeps playing and coming on and producing, and there's a few tens at the minute for England that aren't in brilliant form, and there's always, when you're in your squad, there's always 3 players that don't get a kick in that squad. And him coming off the bench, it gives everybody, Arsenal fans, a massive lift, obviously, at the Emirates. But even if he was an England fan and he still keeps producing coming off the bench and he comes on, it gives you a lift and it gives the players, and he's playing with no fear. There's no fear there at all. You know, he's just playing free. That's what Arsenal need at this stage of the season, where there's a bit of tension. England could do with it. So I wouldn't rule him out. And if he did, he wouldn't be the next Theo Walcott and not play, because I think Tuchel's brave enough to actually play him.
Interesting. Perry, all the best. Enjoy the game tonight. Take care.
Cheers, boys.
There's Perry Groves there, our very own, back on Sunday, of course, with Sam and the gang. Keep you in touch with everything that's going on. And I'm sure he'll be there tonight, as will we. Adrian Durham, your host. And it's Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend, your commentary team for Arsenal by Leverkusen tonight. Jack Colback's coming in next. Just announced his retirement from the game. A man who played for both Newcastle and Sunderland. Not a lot of people do that, but well remembered and regarded at Forest and other clubs as well. So we'll look at the future for Jack after making that big call in a few moments' time.
What was more ridiculous? The Chelsea players' huddle or referee Paul Tierney making himself the main character of it? Chelsea have begun performing a pre-match huddle, but doing it in the centre circle of all places. It's drawn boos by opposition fans in recent weeks, with the start of games being somewhat slowed down. And Chelsea opted to do the same huddle before the Newcastle game on Saturday evening. But Paul Tierney, strangely, was right in the middle of it and didn't make any attempt to get out of it. So they had their huddle, and Tierney, bizarrely, was part of it. After the game, Liam Senior said, "No, this was by no means disrespectful by my boys."
My players made a decision that they wanted to be around the ball, to respect the ball, and show unity and leadership. That is not my decision. That was a decision between the leadership group and the team. There is nothing that they're doing with that huddle that is disrespectful to the opposition. And do you know what's amazing? Before the game, it wasn't me. We had a meeting with the referee. My assistant goes in. The first thing he talks about is our huddle. And he says about when I complained about Arsenal being in our half. It wasn't the goalkeeper coach that was in our half, and people who were at that game at Arsenal know why I said what I said. We're not being disrespectful to the opposition. If Paul had focused more on his job, which was to make the right decision, we have a penalty today.
So Liam Senior chose that moment to have a swipe at Paul Tierney. Martin, have you ever seen anything like this? A huddle to respect the ball, which on Saturday evening included the referee in the middle of it.
How are Chelsea's Premier League rivals feeling today when one of their own says this?
If anything, they're quite lucky because we've had a ban before under the previous regime, like which we had a transfer ban when we first went in there. So if anything, they've got away lucky with that.
Former Chelsea player and coach Jody Morris there. The club's escaped a points deduction or a transfer ban for secret transfer payments made during the Abramovich era. Football finance expert Stefan Borson's told White and Jordan, "We don't know if Chelsea also continue to benefit."
Was there a player in 2019 that, because of the payment in 2012, was directed towards Chelsea? Yeah. Were there a couple of academy players that may have gone to Manchester United that ended up at Chelsea? Who knows? And there's no examination of those possible benefits.
In the Champions League, Chelsea versus PSG is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7 p.m. Lucas Bergvall is back training with Spurs ahead of their game at home to Atletico Madrid. He's been out for 2 months with an ankle injury. Now, FIFA say they will not consider moving Iran's World Cup games from the USA to Mexico. Donald Trump suggested it wouldn't be appropriate for them to turn up for their own life and safety. The US-Israeli war with Iran continues. Craig Bellamy's left Wales captain Aaron Ramsey out of his squad for the upcoming World Cup playoffs. Wales face Bosnia and Herzegovina, and if they win that, Italy or Northern Ireland next. And League Two Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new full-time head coach. Lawler was appointed as caretaker in January. Get more on the website at talksport.com.
Liverpool 2, Burnley 1, and it is Jack Colback. It's short, it's Colback, goes round the keeper, it's 1-0 Nottingham Forest. Jack Colback has just volleyed home across from on the left-hand side in front of goal.
It's a game like no other, really.
Jack Colback, widely rumoured to be on his way to Newcastle United at the end of the season, and that could be the goal that ensures that Sunderland are playing Premier League football next season.
Jack slightly bristling at the volleyed cross comment there, I think from Mark Wilson. But anyway, we'll talk to Jack in a moment. He retired last Monday, and the news of it broke while we were sitting there with Steve Bruce up in Cheltenham ahead of the festival. And we asked him about Jack as a player, and this is what he said.
And first and foremost, what an absolute great pro and a great lad. You know, above anything else, he was absolutely... Yeah, he's had a huge desire to win and be good, and came through. Was probably a Newcastle boy, and
it was.
Came through the academy
at Sunderland.
Went through the academy at Sunderland. So, but I was aware of him very, very early, and he was a pleasure to manage. Jack, I have to say, I hope he's well in himself and he enjoys retirement.
He went from Sunderland to Newcastle.
Yeah, but he had. I was going to swear on radio. He had a pair where you could, to go and take it on. And he never flinched. He never flinched for it because he was a really, as I said, a really good pro, good player.
Nice to hear, Jack.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, really nice. I think what I found as a player, what you can get out of the game is a respect from your peers, your colleagues, respect from your players, and to hear words like that. It is nice to hear. I've got a lot of respect for Steve. He gave me my first real opportunity in the Premier League, showed a lot of belief in me and trust. And I think he really matured me as not just a player, but as a person. It was one of them moments like, right, it's time to step up now. I'd just been on loan at Ipswich, and came back into the first team fold at Sunderland. I was probably maybe training a bit within myself and stuff like that. And he said, right, now's your time to step up, and it was a good experience with Steve.
How difficult was it to make that call? I mean, you're 36. You had a little spell in non-league, and was that it? Was it like I'm done? Did you know?
Yeah, I mean the little spell was 45 minutes. I felt my hamstring after about 10 minutes.
Right,
tightening up, and I mean it was. I knew in my head I was kind of done. I think I was ready to carry on at the end of last season. I finished at QPR, playing games and doing well, and my body felt good. Nothing came from them in terms of an extension, and then you're waiting for stuff to come in. Nothing really came that excited me, and I think with the game now, especially now, once you get past 33, 34, unless you're at the top, clubs don't really look at you as a great option, which it surprised me, the lack of offers, to be honest. Yeah.
Was there? I mean,
everybody wants resale value young players.
That's right.
Exactly,
everybody's looking at that. But also, I just wondered if there were options abroad, in the States or anywhere like that.
No, I think I'd missed the boat for that one as well. Yeah. I'd had offers previously, opportunities to go, but my kind of home life with the kids and stuff, it stopped me going, but it was always something that interested me. The moves abroad were always a lot more intriguing than others, but I never did it. It's probably one thing I'd maybe try and change if I was to do it again. But it just got to a stage where the decision was almost made for me.
Sure.
Have you thought about what you're going to do in retirement? Because we've spoken to so many sportsmen over the years. Some know what they're going to do. Some find it more difficult. So,
well, I think all my pre-retirement visions of being on the golf course every day and sat on a sun lounger around the pool have not been entirely accurate, to be honest. Like I say, I've got 3 kids, so I'm dealing with them a lot.
Yeah, but you go mad if you just said that's all you did.
Well, yeah, that's
Father of the Year there, Andy Jacobs.
No, I don't mean kids. I mean playing golf.
Yeah, I mean you are a long time retired, and I'm sure you've thought about that and what you do next for the next 40, 50 years of your life. Plus.
Yeah, I think it caught me off guard just how much I would miss it. I was ready to stop, I think. And then since I did stop, I miss everything about it. It has been my purpose since I was a young boy, just playing football, and then all of a sudden, it's like bang, done.
What is it? Is it the kind of regimented nature? Is it of it, or is it just being around other players? Is it just being around the game, the team, the fans? Is it all of that?
Yeah, I think it's all of it. It's even the hard times, the pressure, the jeopardy, the must-win games. It's everything. That's what kind of keeps you alive, almost. You know, it's like
the buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The match day excitement, the adrenaline, the nerves, and all of that. Being with the group of lads. So yeah, it's everything about it, and it is difficult.
Well, then it is kind of coaching. It's badges. It's still being in that environment, and so to still. I mean, you'll never quite recapture that buzz. Every coach will tell you that, I'm sure. But you're in and amongst it, and I'm sure it's pretty similar.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's for me now finding the right balance in terms of enjoying the time I do have and the freedom I do have to spend time with family and all of that, but equally getting kind of scratching that itch as well on a football side, which I suppose, doing stuff like this is
so the media side is something that potentially interests you as well, just doing a bit of that.
Yeah, I think so. I think I can offer a decent level of knowledge in terms of how long I played the game for, and with the media side it can be quite flexible, whereas with coaching it's a big commitment.
Do the PFA reach out in times like this? Or do they talk to you? I mean, I suppose it's one of those things, if you go to them and said, I want to do this, they would help you do it. But, they have programs in place. But I just wonder if they ever reach out to players when they hear they've retired.
I've not had anything personally, but you get emails as being a PFA member, and yeah, they are always offering courses, and do you want to go in coaching or maybe business or that sort of thing. So the options are there. Well,
you've got a bit of time, haven't you? Because football, it does pay, it does give you a good living, so you've got a little bit of time to make your mind up, really. So
yeah, like I said, I've got the freedom, and I've got time to think and see where I go. I'm just trying to live day by day and where it takes me, really.
That's good.
Well, we're gonna
one question though.
Yes.
Someone who's played for a lot of clubs, whose result do you look for first?
I'd probably say Forest. Yeah, Forest. I ended up. That was my fondest time, I think, as a player.
There's a lot of love for you at Forest. We're getting quite a few emails in. Love the ginger perlo at the City Ground. That's just one of them coming in. And absolute legend at the City Ground, says another. Ask him if he really meant that goal v West Brom. Well, we just heard Mark saying commentary. I think it was Mark saying a cross volley. But you're not having it.
Yeah, I get offended at the question.
You look a bit sheepish in the aftermath when Brennan Johnson comes over and you're like, I bet he's saying, did you mean that?
But I was never eccentric. I wasn't ever running around going mad on celebrations. But what I would say is, if you know the game, you don't cross a ball on the volley.
No,
like
that's true.
For me, if anything, you let it bounce and hit across the ball. So I've described it before. I used to play left back quite a bit. And I'm not the quickest. I'm not the most skillful. So I'd often get a bit bored in games where I'm just kind of keeping the ball and all that. And I just thought, I'm hitting it. Yeah.
Well, you didn't see the keeper off the line. You just, or did you? Or did you? You just went. You just put your foot through it.
It was complete instinct.
Yeah.
I throw to Bren. Bren popped it up. So I'm hitting it.
It's a great goal. I mean, we should, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out on YouTube. We'll try and put it up as we're chatting to Jackie, sticking around with us for a bit longer. And we're going to talk about, making that decision to cross from Sunderland to Newcastle, which is never easy. But Jack Colback is with us in the studio, retired last week, but we'll continue chatting. And interested to hear from you. Any questions, comments, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet to TSH and J. 0371 722 3344. We're here with Toolstation. Get your toolbox essentials this spring with big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Toolstation.
Where does Bruno rank in Manchester United's all-time great midfielders? I'm just going to start by saying I think he's the best player in the Premier League right now. I don't think anyone is performing to the levels that he is. I can't think of anyone at Arsenal that's doing that. I can't think of anyone at Manchester City that's doing that week in, week out, consistently at the highest level. And he's doing it in the position that he's supposed to be playing in. Completely different where Ruben Amorim played him, and makes that decision even more crazy when you think of what he's doing right now. So fair play to Michael Carrick. And also, does he get into an all-time Manchester United Premier League 11? Because we were thinking maybe Ryan Giggs on the left, Cristiano Ronaldo or David Beckham on the right, Rooney up top. Are you putting Bruno Fernandes in the 10 with maybe Keane and Scholes in midfield? That might be another one. 81089, get in touch. But Manchester United obviously go clear in third with that result. It's 7 wins in 9 under Michael Carrick. And fans are begging Casemiro to stay as well, I suppose, as Michael Carrick, after he scored again. While Wayne Rooney says Carrick should be given the job full time, Carrick's enjoying himself.
I'm in this position at the moment, doing the best I can, and loving it, obviously, and keep pushing for more. You know, we want to make the team as good as we can. We want to keep improving everything, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But in terms of conversations, we get on great.
Yeah, I obviously he's doing an incredible job. Like I said, 7 wins out of 9, and I would be surprised if they didn't give him the job in the summer, given how it's gone. I think they should get Champions League, but obviously playing one game every 2 weeks, you probably should get Champions League. But it depends if big managers come available in the summer.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Jack Colback is with us in the studio. He retired from football last week. Of course, he played for Sunderland and Newcastle, and they play each other this weekend, don't they, Jack? Isn't there? We got the derby. It's the time Weir, isn't it?
Sunday, I think it is.
Yeah, Sunday. That's right.
okay.
Yeah, Sunday, like 12 o'clock kickoff. I wonder why. So you're a Newcastle lad, as we were just saying to Steve in that clip earlier on, Steve Bruce. But you went off to the Sunderland Academy. Were there options to go to Newcastle? Did they not fancy you as a young kid, or Sunderland get in there first?
Yeah, no, I went to Newcastle first, actually, but didn't really enjoy it. Didn't have a good feel about it. I'd been to Middlesbrough, which I really liked, really enjoyed, but it was just too far to travel to get there. The commitment was...
What sort of age were you at this stage then?
So that would have been 8, 9 year old.
Right.
Wow. When did you actually know you were going to be a professional footballer?
It's a tough one, really. I think I always knew I was half decent.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the academy and you do each stage, you do under 10s, 11s, 12s, and you work your way up, you kind of do get a feeling of, like, I'm well thought of. So I don't think I ever had the feeling of, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. but I was just kind of taking it each week.
Are the kids at that sort of age, were you being warned maybe from family, from friends, from coaches, look, there are no guarantees, this could all end tomorrow, you may not get an extension, you may not get a scholarship, you may not get a pro contract?
Probably from staff, yeah. In terms of from like my old man and stuff, he was very standoffish. He just let me get on with it. He took me to training, he took me to games, but he was always just you do you type thing. And I think that really helped me.
Didn't put the pressure on you.
Yeah, not what you see now on the sidelines. Again, I go to my little boys' game and there's managers everywhere.
Yeah. It's this vicarious things of living through your kid. You didn't make it, but maybe they will. You know, that sort of idea.
I think it's exactly that, and it does put too much pressure on it. And I think there's a feeling now that it's quite easy to be a professional footballer, and it's really not.
Yeah.
And the margin is so small, but yeah, it was just one of them where I just kind of took it day by day.
So you went from Sunderland, you moved from Sunderland to Newcastle. How much soul searching did that take? Because not many players do that, do they?
No, and I realised why. It was a big decision. It wasn't one that I took lightly. I knew what was going to come with it in terms of my reputation with the Sunderland fans. That's not something that motivated the decision. Looking back now on reflection, I wish I'd left on better terms, really, because I had a great time at Sunderland. It's a great club, but I think when I look at it, overall, I just made what I thought was the best move for my footballing career at that point. And Newcastle was always a move coming from the area, having family, friends who support the club, that I would have wondered what would it have been like. Did you take a bit of stick around town now and again? Well, I lived obviously in Newcastle, so you don't get loads of Sunderland fans there. They kind of just stay in Sunderland.
Yeah.
They've had a great season there, haven't they? I mean, all right, they've dropped off a little in the last 5 or 6 weeks, but for obvious reasons that we're talking about.
Because they've done the hard yards now.
And also the players who went to the African nations have come back. You know, it's difficult to pick it all up again. Granit Xhaka was out for a while. But generally, like Paul said, they've got enough points to relax.
And have they done better than you thought, Jack?
Yeah, I think they've done better than everyone thought.
Yeah.
Really. They've really overperformed, and like you say, it is difficult now because they have reached that target. But I think it's important also that they don't let the season just fizzle out, and that's what makes this game on Sunday against Newcastle. It's a perfect game for them because they've got no pressure on it, really.
Yeah.
They can go in and play with such a freedom. Newcastle have got Barcelona, and then they're coming into that game and say that they lose to Barcelona, and then they've got to pick themselves up for the derby.
Yeah, because Newcastle's still hoping for a good late run that they can make a run for Europe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, this week for Newcastle, it could be one of the best in the club's history or one of the worst.
Absolutely. You played for Sunderland against Newcastle, but there was a big difference in the positions of the two sides. Did you play for Newcastle against Sunderland?
Yeah. I stopped winning any derby games when I went to Newcastle. I didn't win one. Played, I think, 3 or 4. And yeah, we didn't get a result in any of them. I think it was always...
Where did you feel more pressure? In a red and white or black and white?
There was always more pressure for Newcastle.
I should know this. What's the big derby for Forest? Is it Leicester? No.
Well, Leicester and Derby. It's a kind of three. What would you say? Would you say it was Leicester? Leicester or Derby?
I think Derby's more important to Forest fans. I think Leicester's more important for the Leicester fans to Forest. But in comparison to the Newcastle Sunderland,
not the same thing.
No way.
The love's still coming in from the Forest fans, and also Ipswich fans, where you had a spell. A few Ipswich fans getting in touch, so they loved you. You got happy memories of being there on loan?
Yeah, I do. Really good club, real family feel to it. It was my first experience of first team football and professionally, so that was a big thing for me in terms of moving my career on and going from a youth team player into the real thing.
Now, you said earlier on you look out for Forest first, and we've had a couple of people get in touch. Our own Max Scott, talkSPORT's presenter, is a Forest fan, and James, the Forest fan, are asking sort of similar questions about Steve Cooper, because there's been so many managerial changes at the club, and I know there's still a lot of love for Steve and what he did. What have you made of of all the toing and froing in the dugout? And also, what about the idea of Steve coming back?
Well, I think that would be incredible if he did. I think my experience with Steve was so good. Obviously, we had the promotion coming from where we did, which was bottom of the league, to then do it at Wembley. It was so special. And I think he's still got a lot of respect from the Forest fans. I think the amount of managers changing now, it's a difficult one. The owner's got his way of doing things, and kind of if he's not happy, then he makes them decisions. I think he's got to stand by them. I think he's not always made the right ones, but...
How involved was he with the players? Did he ever interact with you as players? Did he tell you... I mean, you kind of get the sense he probably did go into the dressing room sometimes and have a go if you'd lost.
I didn't experience that.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we had 1 or 2 Zoom calls when we weren't doing very well. He was back in his home in Greece, and he kind of... A little warning, like, lads, come on.
Wow.
I think all chairman Abramovich used to do this too. He'd go to the training ground if the results hadn't been great, and
And this was on Zoom. I mean, you'd see, yeah.
Still the same effect, really.
Forest was my first experience where there was more of that outside influence, I would say. I'd never experienced kind of like the chief exec would be in the tunnel before the game and stuff like that. Was
and the way he sort of sits in that throne. And then when you know he's left, you know you probably get your P45.
To have
thumbs down.
4 permanent managers in one season, even by his standards, that's a lot.
It is, and I think, in hindsight, and you look at it now, they should still have Nuno there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the irony behind the relegation battle is that Nuno's now at West Ham.
But it took him a bit of time, but he's got them playing now.
He has. He's obviously, he knows what he's doing. He gets the team organised, and that's what he had Forest doing, and they were doing so well, but
they're still... I mean, as I said to you off air, I'm a Tottenham fan. We got this big game at Spurs against Forest at the weekend. Massive game for both of us. But Forest, they're still creating a lot of chances. They've had like 100 chances and scored 1 goal in the last 6 games, which is mad. But it only takes 1 to click, and they've still got good forwards. They're good on the break. They're a very good side, and they are still creating. It's not like they're not creating chances.
Yeah, and I think that's the worry, isn't it? If you're not creating, then it's more of a worry. But it is one of them. It can just take 1 result. Obviously, the game against Tottenham is huge.
A draw is only good if West Ham lose.
Yeah.
Draw's no good to either team if West Ham win.
No, I think both of them have got to go for it, which should make it a good game.
I think it's a tougher game for Spurs. Playing at home.
Sure.
The pressure. Forest can go there and be solid and play on the counter.
And they've been playing well away from home. They've picked up some good results away from home, haven't we? Well, that's really cheered me up, Jack. Thanks.
But the fans are a bit more optimistic after Sunday at Liverpool, where they did show something.
There was a little bit of fight and a bit of shape about the team. But Jack, lovely to see you.
To me.
And I'm sure you say you give yourself a bit of time to decide what you want to do in the future. But we wish you all the best, and you're always very welcome to come back and see us whenever you like. And all the best for the future. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure.
Jack Colback there. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Razor Ruddock pops in a little bit later on. Sonny Edwards will join us. We know him as a boxer, but he was also a Wimbledon ball boy, and he's a big Chelsea fan, so a couple of things we'll touch on. And would you be prepared to throw 3 darts to decide on how much you want to pay for a haircut? Well, we'll speak to the barbers that do just that up in Bolton in the next hour.
Max has a lot of professionals ahead of him before getting that opportunity. But one of the things that you can say about Arteta is that he has faith in him. He trusts him to come on with some minutes. And I know you mentioned about the Premier League, potentially if Arsenal can wrap it up a bit earlier. Yeah. Of course, it's looking like they're having that opportunity to. Then maybe that's where we'll see Max get in more minutes. But again, there are, of course, other players in front of him that do want to play.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because I could imagine Max thinking, look what I've done. You know, when am I starting? When am I starting? You know, that excitement and that hunger to go out and keep achieving at such a young age. We've seen it from Wayne Rooney at a young age. He's not going to want to be held back and, I might have to go and play under 18s on the weekend. It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very difficult, but Max is very grounded, has a grounded family who are, brilliant, and he's doing very well in the under-21s under Max Porter. So it's really a case of let's see how this season goes out, and then of course next season, if there are any opportunities that do come up, Arteta will know best. But if you want to play with the best, of course, you then have to continue your development if you want under the best, and Max is in the best place for
I'm
his
just trying
development.
to figure out, guys, sorry to change, but what's it going to be like going into school today, Ali? I mean, like, what's going on? You're trying to do your work in your class, and everyone's talking about your goal. Like,
I know. But I tell you what, though, lads, it must be a nightmare to mark in the playground. You know what I mean?
Yes. Get the bags down, get the blazers down for goals.
Oh, aye. You must keep the ball for about 15 minutes in the playground, man.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. What does Chelsea's punishment mean for City's 115 charges?
I think this is generally positive for City in terms of its leniency, but I wouldn't read too much into it because, of course, this is a sanction agreement. As to when it's coming, I mean, clearly we are now way over the expectations of all the parties. The last information I had is they have no idea when it's coming.
Football finance expert Stefan Borson there. Our very own Simon Jordan isn't convinced City should be celebrating yet.
This is good and bad for Manchester City. It's good to some extent because it sets a precedent. It's bad if the heat and the noise in the room gets very loud.
Right.
And people start to go, I don't think so. And the heat gets turned up and all of a sudden the focus turns in on it.
City trail Real Madrid by 3-0 heading into tonight's second leg in the Champions League. You can hear Chelsea PSG live on talkSPORT this evening from 7. Now, a rare bit of good news for Tottenham. Lucas Bergvall is back in training ahead of their meeting with Atletico Madrid. He's been out for 2 months with an ankle injury. Skipper Christian Romero also returns, but Conor Gallagher was absent from today's open session. You can hear the Spurs game tomorrow night over on talkSPORT 2. Next, FIFA say they won't consider moving Iran's World Cup games from the USA to Mexico. Donald Trump suggested it wouldn't be appropriate for them to turn up for their own life and safety. Craig Bellamy's left Wales captain Aaron Ramsey out of his squad for the upcoming World Cup playoffs. Wales face Bosnia and Herzegovina. If they win that, Italy or Northern Ireland lay in wait. And League Two Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new permanent head coach, a caretaker and interim boss over a couple of spells. He says he feels incredibly privileged after 9 years at the club. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
2 more cases of meningitis have been confirmed in Kent, bringing the total to 15. And MI5 apologises and agrees to pay compensation to a woman abused by one of its agents. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, we've got your electric car covered with 400 EV ready centres, so you can drive away happy every time.
Rain clearing out to the northwest, warm sunshine for most of us this afternoon.
Paddy's Pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week? 18 plus, be gamble aware, don't all.
Time now for this week's Paddy's Pick in association with our official betting partner, Paddy Power. In Paddy's Pick, I'm asking Andy to identify a mystery Cheltenham personality.
Oh, really?
Is that right? Oh, it is. OK, we're still sticking with Cheltenham. That's interesting. Fair enough. Zeitgeist. And is Paddy's pick of the week. And you're going to get 5 clues to work out who it is.
Right.
Your Cheltenham knowledge is pretty good, so I think you'll be fine. We start with £50 in the pot for every clue you use without a correct answer. £10 will get taken away. Paddy's pick all for charity, raising funds for the Shen UK.
Yes.
So are you ready, Andy?
I am.
Here we go. This week, the pick is one of the biggest names in Cheltenham history. The son of a racehorse trainer and a racehorse breeder. I mean, think of possibly, apart from Ruby...
A.P. McCoy.
Okay, didn't necessarily say it was a jockey, but that's 40 quid we're going for now. He is a former 6-time amateur champion jockey in Ireland. He won the 1983 Aintree Fox Hunters Chase and the 1996
Is it Mullins?
It is Willie Mullins.
Oh, good. Oh, well done.
So, yeah, just an amateur jockey.
I didn't know that. That's good.
2015, Cheltenham, he trained 8 winners, joint record equalled by Gordon Elliott in 2018. He's the trainer, you would have got it probably from that. He's the trainer of the 2005 Grand National winner Hedge Hunter, 2011-13 champion hurdle winner Hurricane Flyer. He's the most successful trainer in Cheltenham history and has been the festival's lead trainer for the past 8 years in a row.
Yeah, he's a brilliant horse whisperer, isn't he? He's brilliant.
Certainly is. It's Willie Mullins. It's Paddy's pick of the week for a stellar record of Cheltenham success, capped last week with another Gold Cup win with Gaelic Warrior. So there we are, Andy. 40 quid for the Shen UK. Thanks to our friends at Paddy Power, official H&J betting partner, 18 plus only. BeGambleAware.org.
Paddy's pick on talkSPORT with Paddy Power. Can you guess who's made the headlines this week? 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
Igor Tudor sat down with Mickey van der Ven to do the press conference ahead of tomorrow night.
So we'll be wearing a hat saying I don't want to be here.
Well, I just saw Ben Bowman, fellow Spurs fan, on social media saying, he's taken a bit of flack from some of the fans on social media. He's had a few daft moments. He hasn't played as well this year. And he's probably in that camp of players saying, well, not my problem.
No,
but there must come a point, I'm not singling him out.
No.
But I just feel that professional pride must kick in.
That's what I felt had happened on Sunday. I felt that the players had suddenly, for some reason, thought, well, we're in trouble.
I think it helps picking players like Richarlison, certainly players that have been there with Everton, and also players with a bit of dog in them, as they say.
Players in the right position.
Somebody is up for the fight, because I just sensed a few times, as I did use that phrase, pea-hearts, which is maybe unfair, but there's a few boys there not up for the fight, but they could get drawn into it by players like Richarlison, who I think are quite key.
Yeah,
you'd like to think no one wants a relegation on their CV. So I'm just hoping that there's a few of those senior guys that haven't been at their best this year and look like they've maybe not put the kind of shift in that they could have done.
They'll also be aware, the players there, so will the Forest players, of course, but they'll be aware, Tottenham players, if they can get a win on Sunday, that's going to go quite a long way to
I think it's going to be, as I said, if Forest were coming with no confidence, they've got to come, they've got the game. They've got Michelin to play away.
Well, you're both playing, aren't you?
They do have real depth. I mean, they have depth in that squad.
Oh, yeah.
They have good quality and a lot
It's
of
a good
threats.
squad. It's a bit like Spurs. They shouldn't be down there. Here's one for you there. You'll like this.
Yeah.
Not to do with football, but research has established that sharks are best friends with other sharks. They make friends and they travel together. Except the great white, Jawsy no mates.
I wonder where you were going with that.
It's actually true.
I thought you had... so they just sort of swim along with others, should make friends.
It was in the Times. Sharks have best friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
BFF.
The ocean's most notorious predator, often depicted as solitary hunters gliding through the blue with little need for company. However, a study has suggested that the lone shark label, not that type of lone shark, may often be wrong. So they have friends.
Okay, I would have thought the sort of predatory nature of it would mean that if I'm going for a swim somewhere, Canvey. Well, you don't get a lot of sharks in Canvey. Don't want to worry if you've gone swimming in Canvey. There are no sharks. Not big ones. I mean, there's no sharks. But anyway, if I've and they think, oh, there's a dinner, they're not going to say, you have this one. I
I've eaten earlier.
I mean, I don't.
It could be dinner for two.
You can be friends. Got a table for two, please. Got a surfboard for two.
Anyway,
a bit dark. Sorry about that.
A bloke in Poland.
I feel like Christian Dior now.
Oh no.
Yeah, go on.
A man in Poland.
Oh, a man in Poland.
I read it in
You're
the
doing
news.
an finally story on the news, yeah.
Passed his driving test after 139 attempts.
Wow.
Before that, he was my wife's driving instructor.
Well, you're working from the My Wife book now.
I know, but honestly, it's true.
Dear. 139 attempts.
Yeah,
that's
apparently.
Fantastic.
Ryan
Imagine coming back for the 138th time and they're saying, well, no, it's just one major and two minors. I thought I was going that way for Luke Littler until he finally managed to get through the written test. Yeah.
Yeah, he says Ryan Gosling said he loves
Ryan Gosling failed his driving test 139 times.
He loves foxes, and not Leicester. He loves foxes in this country, apparently.
Does he?
I thought, yeah, great. I'll take half a dozen round his bin, see if he still feels the same.
Well, he does. He lives sort of Hampstead way.
Yeah, apparently he does.
He lives, and he'll have the urban fox going down his bin.
Yeah, I suppose he would. Yeah.
What you don't want is foxes at it in your garden because they make a lot of they make a lot of noise. That might wake up the Gosling household, I would imagine.
Sounds like mooses outside your front door.
It does.
But anyway, finally, KSI. I love this actually because he's bought into Dagenham and Redbridge. I
saw that. Yeah, the Daggers.
And he said the fans, the support he's had from the fans is tremendous. I'm thinking, wait till they start losing, mate.
Yeah.
KSI out.
Yeah, that's
banners.
You know what football's like. Yeah. Talking of which, Razor Ruddock's going to pop in. He's involved in a big charity match with Dan O'Reilly. I think they're both going to pop in and see us. We had Liverpool Spurs at the weekend. We may reflect on both of those clubs and Millwall and other matters with Razor. Sonny Edwards joins us a bit later on. And would you pay for your haircut via 3 darts? Whatever you land on, you pay for. So for once, rather than looking for treble 20, you're trying to get in the madhouse. You're trying to get into one, aren't you? So anyway, we'll find out more about that from the barber in question. And that's all to come. We're here with Tool Station. Explore the full collection of garden power tools with top brands such as Karcher and Makita. Next stop, Tool Station.
Obviously, in the week, the Atletico Madrid disaster with Kinski. We have such a goalkeeping problem at our club, Natalie. You know, if you look at the free kick today, which is savable for me, and apparently the stat is, and I don't know how correct it is, but 68% of our goals have come from a Vicario mistake. Now, that alone is why we're in a relegation battle. Forget everything else. And I can't imagine how difficult it is, Pards, to have a number one that your team don't trust in. You know, how difficult is that for a team? And does that sap you full of confidence? You know, when you're looking at those boys and they're void of confidence, when they're seeing the mistake after mistake from, you know, their number one, even the guy that comes in, it can't help, can it?
No, it doesn't help. And, you know, after that awful game in Madrid, when obviously Kinski made the errors and then gets substituted, and obviously the media made a big thing about Tudor not acknowledging him as he walked off, and then the goalie, the first team goalie, comes back in today. Again, you got to say that he's at fault for the goal. It's not a great situation, particularly for the defence, to have a goalie that's, you know, on edge. So I should think the result will have boosted him, because obviously he hasn't contributed to a defeat. So I think what you'd find is hopefully that the team will rally round that goalie tonight, Vicario, and make him feel a lot better. And I think that's really what players do normally. You know, they like to protect each other with humour or a bit of sarcasm or whatever.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Hawksbee Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Tim Vickery, our South American correspondent, is over in the UK. He's going to pop in and chat about his new book, Mondiales, the South American history of the World Cup. But before that, we're joined in the studio to chat about a big charity game coming up in May by Daniel O'Reilly, man behind the charity involved, and Razor Ruddock. Good afternoon, guys.
How are you?
Good to see you. Yeah,
nice to see you.
Before we talk football, Razor, let's talk, Daniel, about the charity and who's going to benefit from this game at Swindon Town on the 3rd of May.
So our charity is called Men and Their Emotions. It started as
coming a little bit closer.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Right. Sorry about that. It's my first time in this beautiful studio. Yeah. It's called Men and Their Emotions. It started as a Facebook group where lads could just share their problems, and it blew up. It's got 60,000 people in the Facebook group. Lads can post anonymously what they're going through, anything, relationship issues, money issues and that. And it's a bit like watching Jeremy Kyle. When you see other people going through it, you feel better about your own issues, don't you? Like, it makes you feel normal. And that blew up, and a lot of lads in there were sharing lived experience, so wading in, you know, unjudgmentally, just sort of sometimes holding men to account for what they're going through or what they're doing wrong. And it really blew up into something special. 60,000 lads. We turned it into a charity. We're raising money to essentially stop men taking their own lives, because there's a lot of lads in the group that are like, I can't handle it, I don't want to be here. We signpost them to crisis management. But now we're raising money to put them into counselling, which helps them untangle the mess in their minds. As you know, lads don't talk out, and it's a new thing now, isn't it? You know, but it's easy saying talk about it. We're trying to find ways to actually help them untangle the mess. We're trying to reshape vulnerability into strength, right? So if lads can open up about it, and through that, people have reached out to raise money for us. We also help with funding like addiction help and rehab and stuff like that. And a gentleman unfortunately took his own life, Stephen Bailey, and he was a member of the group and a fan of some of my comedy work, and a friend of his knows Swindon Town Football Club, and they said we'll give you the club if you can get some celebs.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Right.
Well, the thing is, Dapper laughs here. I've known him for years and years, okay? And out of everyone I know, his football knowledge is zero.
No, yes.
He's the worst.
He was explaining.
So basically, you needed a football genius to come along. I put my name up first before someone else got involved. And
you're not playing though, right?
No, the old legs are gone. But I think I'm there to sort of organise. It's a team of celebs, team of ex-pros. So I said we can't have, we've got to mix them up there. So I'm going to put Danny Dyer on the quickest ex-pro. We've got playing.
Is Danny a decent player?
He's putting a few pounds on.
Okay.
So, I think he's lost his pace that he never had. Danny's playing. Ollie Moores.
Yeah.
Who else we got there?
We got Ollie.
He's quite a good player.
I think he's, to be honest, I think he's hurt his leg, so I think he's just down there for the ladies to look at. Do you know,
Right,
we'll put him somewhere where the ladies can look at. But we got a lot. Danny was the first man to sign up. I DM'd him and he come back to me and said yes straight away. And then we got.
He loves his football. He loves getting involved.
And he loves the cause. So, and then we got loads of other people come in and Razor, and everyone's getting excited now. And we've already sold about £30,000 worth of tickets.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's good. So it's 3rd of May.
Yep.
You can get them from the Swindon Town FC website.
Yes.
swindontownfc.co.uk, and I imagine there'll be new names coming in all the time.
Yeah, loads of stuff.
I was trying to get Martin Afire to play, but he's DJing that day because I wanted to see Danny Dyer chasing Martin Afire because you know what I felt like trying to chase Thierry Henry. So I want to get my own back on Danny because he used to boo me at West Ham when I was playing for West Ham when I couldn't catch Henry. So but I mean it's going to be a great event. As I say, we've got loads and loads of ex-players and we've got.
And it's a subject close to your heart. You've talked about your own struggles. When you popped in and talked to us about your book, you've been very upfront.
It's very close, and Dan's been very sort of good to me as well. So he's, his experience he's gone through. So you just sort of bounce off each other, and that's what his charity is doing. It's as I say, it's not there to cuddle people, put your arm around his shoulder. Sometimes you have to hear the truth, and I think that's what the charity does. Can you help yourself sometimes? So it's a good thing they're doing.
It's alarming how, even after all these years of this, not a new thing about men not talking. There's been a lot of work done.
I think it's embarrassment. There's a lot of good people out there. It's about being embarrassed of what you do. But I think there's, your friends and your close family, they ain't going to judge you. They're going to be a better help than you think they're going to be. So just, if you're drowning, you put your hand up and ask for help, didn't you?
And have you sensed, Dan, that as you've gone on, as you work with a charity, you think people are opening up more? Do you sense it getting better?
Well, we are. The thing about this is we are 100% saving lives because it's happening in real time. They're reaching out. They're saying that they don't want to be here, that they want to take their own life. We're catching these messages in the net. We're sending them to our crisis management teams. They're coming back and they're posting again saying, thank you to the group.
That's great.
Or they're putting stuff in. They're saying, look, my wife's cheated on me, for instance, or I've just lost my job, and they're putting these things in, and lads are coming in and going, look, just start again, kind of real talk, just start again, reinvent yourself, don't worry about her, work on yourself. When you hear another man saying it that's been through it, it resonates with you.
And hearing from other people that have gone through what have come out the other side.
Exactly.
I think the biggest thing you always say is no one understands what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And this, people do understand.
You'll have hundreds of people. Go and check it out. It's called Men and Their Emotions on Facebook. But you'll have hundreds of people wading in with different types of advice. You can pick what you want. But I believe the key to lads that are taking their own lives now is shame and guilt, right? Yeah. They're getting to a point in their lives where they're like, oh my God, this isn't. It's like crisis. It's like they don't know who they are anymore. Like they haven't become who they wanted to be, and the shame and guilt. Yeah. And a big part of what we're doing is, look, you can reinvent yourself. You've got to hit rock bottom to bounce back up. Sure. And what you're going through, everyone else is going through something similar or has been through something. And don't kill yourself. Kill that version of you and create a new one. It's tough to talk about it.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? But
go and check it out. Men and Their Emotions, mate.org.uk.
Yeah.
We're going to talk football now.
We are going to talk football. It was the Neil Ruddock derby at the weekend at Anfield. You probably got concerns about both teams. Slightly better from Spurs, though, Razor, wasn't it? Really, a little bit more.
It was better, but I think, as we just said in the break there, I think it's pressure's off when you play away from home. I think the big test is this Saturday. Is it Saturday, Sunday?
Sunday.
Then they play Forest at home. Playing at home when you're struggling is a lot harder. I think just every player just lost their self-belief. Yeah. I think none of the Tottenham, I think the whole squad really, have they gone through this for their career? They've lost 6 on the spin and drew one.
Only Richie. There's been very few who've kind of been in a situation.
And I think that when it keeps happening, you keep getting booed, you keep getting criticised. I think you start believing that.
Yeah.
I wasn't the most talented footballer in my team, but I was the best footballer in the dressing room, getting people G'd up. I was the best footballer on the pitch, i.e. coaching the lads and getting people disciplined and chasing around and getting organised. Just basically Tottenham need 11 me.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that.
But you know what I mean?
They need elements of that.
You still got to coach on the football pitch. You've got to coach before the game. You 100% believe in yourself. If 6 of you believe in yourself and 5 don't, you're going to lose a game.
I mean, even looking at Xavi Simons, I mean, he warmed up in the game, but he came on as a sub, and I know it's not easy to pick up the pace, but this is a guy that was kind of bought for his swagger and taking players on, but he treats the ball like an unexploded bomb. And he looks frightened.
And I bet in training he'll be unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you get out there, so you're a different person. You're a different person. You're a different person, different personality. But I think the self-belief took a hiding, really, and they don't know how to respond.
I think it's interesting as well is that before the Liverpool game, everybody was convinced that A, they'd lose, and B, Igor Tudor would go on the Monday.
Yeah.
So they get a point, and he gets a stay of execution.
Yeah.
But then what happens if they lose to Forest? Does he go?
I mean, if they lose to Forest, there are 3 weeks until the next game, so you can only imagine they might have to make a change. Depends what happens tonight and the nature of any defeat.
It looked like the players were playing for him.
Do you think they'll do any good? I mean, just keep changing, here we go again.
I think if they can put in another similar performance and get something and win the Forest game, because as Annie said, the draw's not good for either of them. But
you never know. You need a bit of luck. Referee, make a silly mistake,
they've not had a penalty all season, Spurs, so maybe they're due one of them. But if they came through that
against them, you've got to mention that again because say that because you don't want you putting it.
And what about Liverpool, Razor? I mean,
I just think the season's over. I just know. Keep letting late goals in. I think too many changes. We lost the strike, paid 140 odd million. He didn't look fit at the time. You lose him. So I just think too many changes at once. I mean, we was doing all right with the end of last season, but I think you see Liverpool conceding a lot of goals this season. I don't think there's been a season for a long time they've let this many silly goals in.
Yeah.
And I think that teams when they go to Anfield, they think they've got a chance now, whereas before. You had no chance. But saying Tottenham, it's away from home, so it was an easy game for the players.
Do you think a change of manager at Liverpool? Can you see that?
Well,
at the end of the season?
think if it gets any worse, I can see it.
We've got Xabi Alonso.
They won't mess about it. Zabo Alonso, good scout's name.
Yes.
He's in the wings, isn't he? So.
But better news for Millwall. And of course, Saints, another year old club. Under Tonda Eckert, they're doing well, aren't they?
Well, Millwall definitely going to be in the playoffs. Saints get in there, it'll be a lovely final for me to Millwall, Southampton at Wembley. That'll be a great one.
Fantastic.
So it's all looking good.
Yeah.
And West Ham as well. All teams. I've got 2 teams might come up, 2 teams going down.
Nice one, Razor. Lovely to see you.
And you.
Just a reminder, you can get your tickets for the match. It's Swindon Town FC website, swindontownfc.co.uk.
Oh, Jamie O'Hara's playing as well.
Oh, is he?
You're Jamie O'Hara.
Wow.
He's been kicking off a lot recently on the radio, hasn't he? Like losing his head. So
you should get Jason Cundy to play in the other team.
I just asked him, you see the state of his legs? He's worse than me. I couldn't stop a pig in a passage with his legs. You see him?
You took a film for your Instagram. You're telling us it's really, really popular. So give it a plug, sir.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you don't follow me already, it's probably because you've seen my stuff and you don't like it. But if you haven't seen my stuff, jump over to Dapper's Instagram. It's a nice mixture of like political satire, taking a mick out of Keir Starmer a lot and what's going on in the world, and also some mental health bits and all that jazz, and some good family-friendly comedy as well.
Yes.
But jump on board.
Well, I hope you get a good turnout on the day, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
And Razor, good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Take care. We will catch up with you soon. Thank you
for your time, lads.
Thank you.
So there we are, County Ground, Swindon Town, 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday the 3rd of May, swindontownfc.co.uk for your tickets for a good cause. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Boxer, sometime Wimbledon ball boy and Chelsea fan Sonny Edwards popping in to see us next.
Ruben Amorim was a winning manager, but clearly not the right fit for Man United, irrespective of the fact he was a European winning manager because he won the Portuguese league.
Right.
So I'm kind of with Roy, but in the
you're with Roy.
Yeah,
in a certain way. I mean, he's not doing anything to rule himself out of contention.
No, I know, but also what Roy's picture is trying to extrapolate it. And I know there's a lot of cash here around Steve Holland and so on and so forth, but he was part of the England setup that flattered to deceive, that didn't win anything when they could have done. So whilst he might be an excellent coach, we're still looking at a bunch of people, with respect of being Michael Carrick being an elite footballer, that, as from a management point of view, have got what on their resume? So it's part of the conversation, not the only part of it. But if Carrick goes to the end of the season and United finish third, or even, dare I say it, catch City and finish second, then there's going to be a clamour of people suggesting that he's proven himself, that he's had 18, 19 games now, that 18, 19 games, or however many he's done X, Y, Z. I mean, they are far better for him being there, but that's because common sense has prevailed. You haven't got a manager that seems to want to riddle himself into cul-de-sacs and play a group of players that can't play the way he wants them to play. You've got a manager that's ultimately under no real pressure, because everyone thinks that United were... The pressure will come now. Now United are third. Now the pressure's now, because everyone's going to expect... United fans are going to go, you better finish inside the top four now, because you're there now.
But yeah, I take on board what Simon's saying, Martin, but if he secures Champions League football for United, what exactly is going to rule him out?
Yeah,
What's going to rule him
I get it. I do. Roy's a respected voice, and I do take the point that this group, at pretty well the same group of players, finished quite low down the table.
How are Chelsea's Premier League rivals feeling today when one of their own says this?
If anything, they're quite lucky because we've had a ban before under the previous regime, which we had a transfer ban when we first went in there. So if anything, they've got away lucky with that.
Former Chelsea player and coach Jody Morris there. The club's escaped a points deduction or a transfer ban for secret transfer payments made during the Abramovich era. Football finance expert Stefan Borson's told White and Jordan, we don't know if Chelsea also continue to benefit.
Was there a player in 2019 that, because of the payment in 2012, was directed towards Chelsea? Were there a couple of academy players that may have gone to Manchester United but ended up at Chelsea? Who knows? And there's no examination of those possible benefits.
In the Champions League, Chelsea versus PSG is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7 p.m. Lucas Bergvall is back training with Spurs ahead of their game at home to Atletico Madrid. He's been out for 2 months with an ankle injury. Now, FIFA say they will not consider moving Iran's World Cup games from the USA to Mexico. Donald Trump suggested it wouldn't be appropriate for them to turn up for their own life and safety. The US-Israeli war with Iran continues. Craig Bellamy's left Wales captain Aaron Ramsey out of his squad for the upcoming World Cup playoffs. Wales face Bosnia and Herzegovina, and if they win that, Italy or Northern Ireland next. And League Two Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new full-time head coach. Lawler was appointed as caretaker in January. Get more on the website at talksport.com.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We turn boxing now, a bit of a recurring theme, really. Having spoken to Jack Colback earlier on about deciding to hang up the boots or the gloves in this case. Sonny Edwards is with us, the former IBF World Featherweight Champion, retired not that long ago. but he's now managing fighters and doing bits of media. He's going to be popping up on our boxing show. We'll tell us more about that later. Hi, Sonny.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
How have you found life after boxing? I mean, you've stayed in it, haven't you, really? Goes looking after other fighters, so probably the transition's not been that difficult.
Nah, busier now than ever, to be honest. Between commentating all the Matchroom UK shows and managing, I think, close to 20 fighters now I think I'm involved with.
Wow.
About 18, 19 at the moment. I don't think I missed many of the fight weeks last year for the whole calendar year. I was a week after retiring I was working and commentating.
You still keeping fit, still working it?
Do you know what, for a year I had off. For a year I did very, very little, and then this year I've been getting in once or twice in the gym and doing some work with down my old gym and Pierce Goodjohn down there, who's a great up-and-coming trainer. So, yeah, doing a little bit more for my, peace of mind.
Yeah, you must miss that, having that level of fitness constantly. Must be a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, and it doesn't go straight away. It's sort of like edges. And I played a charity football game at Barnsley in the summer, and at one point my legs just gave way from me. I was running and changing direction. My legs just gave way. I was like, oh my God, yeah, I need to get a bit fitter. And it did. It motivated me to get a little bit fitter.
Your Chelsea fan, we'll come back to that. But you, in your last fight, Galao fight, you decided to call. You said win, lose or draw, you were going to retire, and you announced after the defeat you retired up in the ring. So no regrets about that. You'd made your mind up before the fight.
Yeah. I knew regardless. That fight happened because I felt like my career had missed that big domestic fight. That Britain versus Britain, headline, title on the line, and Galao was my only possible dancing partner of any worthy, notable opposition. We've been sparring partners for years. We'd fought in the amateurs. I beat him as an amateur. Then he went and won Olympic gold, but then he beat me as a pro, but I've been world champion, so I'm rooting for him for his unified title shot against Ricardo Sandoval coming up, and I definitely expect him to do it as well.
So in some ways, a nice opponent to go out to, because you guys had a bit of history.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like boxing is obviously it's personal, but it's not personal. You're doing the same thing to achieve the same goal, and you have to exist for each other for there to be a champion. Someone has to win, someone has to lose, etc. And I'm very, very content with my innings. My professional boxing career.
That's really lovely to hear. I just want to talk about this line, because we've got a note here. In the middle of the fight, you said, "I don't want to be here." In your last fight, did people? Did people see this?
Could be seen mouthing it.
Yeah. So I'd had probably the last 12 months that were probably not the best and ideal, both personal life, sort of training situation. When I announced the fight and when I did the press conference, I didn't have a trainer at that time. And then I was weighing up a few options and my body was just falling apart. I'd spent a career sort of cutting every corner that I wanted to. If I didn't want to run, I didn't. That wasn't always the problem. It was more smoking, eating unhealthy, not sleeping as much as I should. My brother, Charlie, is the polar opposite of me. He's very intense. He weighs 9 weeks out of a fight. He'll be weighing the grams of rice he's eating to the gram. He needs to know. Where me, I probably haven't done anything apart from something I shouldn't in the morning before going to the spar on the 12 rounds. I would... I didn't look after myself the way that I should have. And when my performance started dropping and my body started giving up a little bit, I was having loads of injuries. I had to have arthritis cut out my left hand. Only recently, I had that done about 4 months ago. I had that issue from before I was a British champion, and I just kept fighting through it and making it worse. I was one-handed pretty much for the last 4 or 5 years of my career. I'd snapped all the ligaments in my ankles going over on them, and I just carried on. I was scared of the surgeon, so I just felt like I could always just do it. And it was getting to the point where for the 9-10 weeks training of the Galao fight, I missed 3 weeks of rolling each ankle. And the last time I did it was a month before the fight. I had to miss a week of sparring, and I promised myself if I can get through the sparring the week after, my rest week, then I'll fight. And I did. But when I was in there, it was just going wrong from the start. And poor Chris, you know, was very, very excited and for the fight, and because I did always a very good job at masking, maybe just how far off I am at. I was good at it. I knew my way around a boxing ring, so I could sort of hide a lot of things. But it was more in response to him. Just, you know, Chris, I know you've got a lot of energy and enthusiasm right now, but because of where my head's at, it's annoying me. It's irritating me. So, but I didn't realise it was on camera, otherwise I probably wouldn't.
It'll stand you in good stead when you're working with other boxers.
Absolutely, yeah,
I think so.
Certainly will. We've now we spoke to a fighter last week that you'll know very well, Josh Warrington. He was
good friend of mine, Josh.
Yeah, he was at Cheltenham with us, and he's a lovely guy, Josh. We love having him on the show. We have for many years, and he just lost to Lee Wood, and he was talking about the sort of internal battle he's now got as a fighter, whether he should stop fighting or not. Let's just play you a little bit what he said.
That's what I'm struggling to deal with at the minute, because I'm, you know, they often say the old saying of a fighter grows old overnight, and they normally mean that the physical is not there.
Or the punch resistance.
Exactly. But for myself, you know, going back to the corner, my old man saying, Josh, you know, he's giving me a little slap round face, you need to do a bit more. So I do a little bit more the next round, but then I won't do enough. I won't follow up on it. Maybe Lee was just making it difficult for me, but I've always worn me out of my sleeve, Paul. You know,
Sure.
you know, whatever happens, and if it means that you get caught and you get knocked out, then so be it. But you do everything to win. You put your heart on your sleeve, you put life on life to win. But it's almost something holding me back. Now, if that's my version of, you know, I've grown overnight, and I've become a bit more mature and more wise, that maybe I don't like getting punched in the head no more.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm just trying to find that
Process it. That takes time to process.
Of course.
That's Josh Warrington last week. He said he hadn't watched the fight back yet. He'd not been able to watch that second Lee Wood fight back. It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, you have to make the decision. There's lots of people around you telling you what you should and shouldn't do, but I suppose ultimately you as the fighter have to make the call, don't you?
Yeah, and it's your spirit, really. As much as you train your body to do the things that it does, it's your mind that controls it. It's your mind that lets you push to certain sort of extremes of effort. And I was commentating Lee Wood, Josh Warrington fight, and I actually felt like Josh had a lot more physically left in him than Lee did with the showing. I just think stylistically and tactically, I think Lee got it better. That time we didn't see Lee really try and hurt Josh. He weren't like sort of letting big shots go and fighting with him. He boxed on very, very simple instructions, keeping away from him every time Josh comes at edge of range, just scoring. And every time then Josh came over the front foot, Lee with his hands low tied him up. He come straight under his armpits and just tied him up. And I think Josh showed to me physically that there was probably more danger about him, more strength and more capabilities about him. I just think the way Lee boxed won Lee the fight. I think that Josh has got a style where he needs to drag them into his fight. And I think if he did, I don't think Lee was reacting great to when he was getting caught with shots.
Interesting.
And I think that's why he's still thinking about it.
This is probably why Josh is undecided.
Where Lee, I think, definitely looked further away from his physical peak, but he probably accepted that and understood that, and which is why he boxed so smart. And it was Josh, every time Lee was nearly in range, or not even in range, Josh was tensing up and trying to really hurt him and trying to nail him.
Did you talk to him after the fight?
I think I've spoken to both of them just very briefly, though. Just very briefly. And I think Lee boxing like that's definitely got a few more in him. I think, especially domestic, like the sort of bigger name domestically.
Sure.
I would love to see him in still with. And I think Josh, you put someone in there that will actually have a fight with him, he's still got plenty.
Yeah. Now, away from boxing, you're a big Chelsea fan. But you're not. You're from South London, aren't you?
Well, I'm from Croydon originally. I moved up to Sheffield when I was 18.
Right. But Chelsea, was that your dad, or what got you?
Yeah. You don't. And I was explaining this to my sons.
Yeah.
You don't pick your football team.
No.
You inherit it.
Yeah, and that's the way it tends to work.
And at first, my son was, I'm a PSG. Now they've both been to their.
They grow out of all the glory hunting.
You know that, but they've both been to their first Chelsea match. He went to World Book Day as Cole Palmer. I don't know how that works out, but
was he doing all that? The old, yeah.
So my
Book Day.
Cole Palmer's autobiography.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids do that.
My son plays for 2 football teams. And he got man of the match on the weekend, 2 goals in the assist. a 3-0 win. And when I was in Dublin for the boxing, when he's telling me, he goes, "Dad, guess what celebration I did?" I went, "Was it a Cole Palmer?" And he went, so we're big Chelsea fans. We're big Cole Palmer fans. Even though they sent my baby boy Chance up to his room crying when we lost 5-2 to PSG. But I just think we need to start, not play the ball out the back all the time. Like, if I'm a under 10s, under 8s parent or coach or whatever, I'm screaming at the goalkeeper, just kick it down the pitch, will you?
Yeah.
Why can
just kick it down the pitch?
See this except
Yeah.
the coach? Why can't
I know.
It's so
When it's on,
obvious.
it's on.
Mix it up, as we always say. Do it sometimes.
Some
mix
of
it
the
up.
passes that came out of Hawkinson weren't even remotely on.
Yeah.
There was not a pass remotely on. Just nail it into the stands if you have to, and we'll start again. Like, because that 2-2, that 3-2 drop, and then all of a sudden chasing the game, and the confidence, and
If
you've
it was
got.
only one goal, you'd think, well, you got a chance.
And then you've got
Still
Enzo
would've
giving
been-
out to the keeper, and probably rightfully so. Just stop doing it. Just kick
Yeah.
the ball. Just stop passing to the centre back and giving him something really hard to do against a well-oiled and refined team in PSG.
And you probably are the only world champion we've had who was also a Wimbledon ball boy. I don't know, but yeah, you did that. You knew our own Amelia Beltrao because she was a ball girl, and you.
Yes, and do you know what? I saw her last time I was here, and I didn't put the 2 and 2 together. Like, we just said hello to each other. And then when I seen her this time, the penny drops.
They let you keep the kit, don't they? Let you keep all the
I did
gear.
it for 4 years, and I can't lie, I had a good run.
Amelia wears hers every day.
Yeah, she does. She still comes in the yeah. That's in the outfit.
I did the men's finals. I did women's finals. I was because people don't realise them ball boys. You're in teams.
Yeah, it's hierarchy.
And people are ranking you and rating you every single time that you're on the pitch. And say if there's one really weak person, they'll remove them and put someone else from another team in there.
Everything's a
proper
pressure,
competitive. Proper competitive.
Well, you can hear more from Sonny alongside Spencer Oliver, Paul Smith, Simon Jordan on Talk Boxing. It's available tonight from 8 p.m. over on the Talk Sport Boxing YouTube channel. Cheers, Sonny. Any fights coming up for your fighters you want to tell us about?
So this week got young Giorgio Vicioli. He's fighting, defending his English title in a great fight against Levi Giles. Really looking forward to that. Just on Saturday, just gone, had the debut of young, popular Irish middleweight Bobby Flood. Tremendous talent. Very, 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 very talented fighter. I believe he's going to go all the way.
Wow.
And obviously got a few more fighters, young Ed Hardy, Chris Malunda, Darnell Sterling. They're fighting at the end of the month on Dave Allen's show in Doncaster. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
Some names to look out for. We'll see you again, Sonny. I know doubt.
Appreciate you.
Thanks very much for joining us. Sonny Edwards there. Getting your hair cut and deciding how to pay for it by throwing 3 darts. That's what Arif Hussein is doing in his barbers in Bolton. We'll find out more in a few moments' time. We're here with Toolstation. Get your home spring ready with great deals on top paint brands like Dulux, Crown and Leyland. Next stop, Toolstation.
Martin Szoboszlai post-match, we have to waken up because if we carry on like this, we should be happy with the Conference League. I don't know why this is happening. I honestly don't know. I didn't hear boos, but we can understand them. We are not performing how we should. Where's he going with it all? I mean, there's general bafflement. I noticed Szoboszlai a few times just said, I just don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
Suggestions they're sort of sleepwalking out of the Champions League. I mean, that's where there's the concern at the moment. I felt maybe yesterday I know you've got to make these changes, Jim, haven't you? But, you've got to finish the job off, and maybe people could have started that game and then came off. Konate not starting, Kirkez, there's a debate, Robertson is who's best. I thought Robertson should have attacked that ball much better at the end of the game. They were just doing enough. Galatasaray looks like it's more important on the horizon. You can't pick and choose. That game's coming up now. It can still be, Jim, a good end to the season for Liverpool. They're still in the Champions League, still in the FA Cup, huge game with Man City. It's all there for them, but it don't seem to be at boiling point. I'm not happy with what's the name, Szoboszlai playing right back. You know what a great talent he is. But no, I don't think there's something wrong with the balance, Jim, and they're just doing enough. Whether some players are coming to the end of their time now at Liverpool, and all of the Isak not settling, still really haven't seen him. But as I say, I still look at them as a danger, Liverpool. If they get their act together, if they could just, and you think they've turned the corner, and every time you think that, there's another bad result, and that certainly was a bad result for them yesterday.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How did you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Win a VIP trip to the British Grand Prix on talkSPORT.
Now listen up, F1 fans. Want to send you and a mate to Silverstone, July the 5th, British Grand Prix. What an experience. No general admission for you. We're going to put you right in the heart of it all with a full racing green trackside experience, exclusive grandstand seats, inner track access to watch the drivers roll into the paddock. The whole day is sorted, all day street food, fully open bar and more. So here's how to enter.
For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close this Friday at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 right now.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Now we're going to talk to a man who runs a barber's shop up in Bolton, and they've had a very good idea. They've decided that they put a dartboard in, and I suppose and the willingness of the customers, they can throw 3 darts to decide how much they pay for their haircut. Arif Hussein joins us now. Good afternoon, Arif.
Good afternoon.
So,
Jacob, how are you?
Yeah, we're good. It's not it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, but we will answer.
Paul, yeah.
We'll answer to Jacob. It's not a problem.
Okay?
I'll answer to anything.
Yeah, we're all good. So it's Will Watson's Barbers, is that right?
No, this is Fullwood's Barbers in Preston.
Oh, blimey.
That's different. That's someone new copying us.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yes, you've got it.
Oh,
I wwondered why that didn't match the piece in the story.
Yeah, that's right. We read the story. So
you were first.
You were the first, were you?
Yes, we're first.
Arif. So tell us the rules then. Tell us how it works. And so obviously people don't want to throw treble 20 because it's going to cost them 180 quid for a haircut. So they're looking to get as low a score as possible. Is that right?
Yeah, because I've got like a forward barber's dart challenge. I've got 3 different challenges.
Yeah.
Perfect 180, you get a free haircut for a year.
All right.
Wow.
Or bullseyes, and if you hit bullseyes, you get 4 free haircuts. If you miss it, you pay double.
Right.
Or the last one, which is everyone going for it, is pay where you hit. So the lads are doing all right, getting a £3 a haircut.
Oh. But I mean, it can go wrong because if you're going for you're going for a bet, you go in the ones, you can easily get in the 20s, can't you? So you're looking to maybe get a few. You pay for a £3 haircut, you could have a 60 quid haircut, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, this is how it works, pretty much. Yeah.
Do they? I mean, you ask the customers whether they're willing to do that. Otherwise, you give them the flat rate. I take it, don't you, what you'd normally charge.
Oh yeah, it's totally up to them. They just come in having a go on it, or just it's up to them. There's not. But for 180, anyone can try every day, all day long. They're trying it like.
Have you had
there's no risk in it.
Have you had anybody that sort of like scored a, double top or something? So I don't want to pay 40
Why don't you
quid.
come down? Have a go.
We'll have to. That's it. Andy's got no hair left. I think his missus does it with the clippers.
But
I
know he hasn't. I know he hasn't got hair.
Yeah,
well, I've got something.
Could do with his beard.
Look, yes, go. You could trim
a better job.
Yeah, what about a beard trim? He could do a better job. He says.
Thanks. Glad we invited.
Yeah.
What a shame the other bloke from Will Watson's hair wasn't available.
Oh, this is Milner.
Oh dear.
Big City fan.
So what? You're a City fan, are you? You say?
Oh no,
you're not. No, okay.
He will be the other.
Yeah. So it's going well. You're going to keep it up. You're going to keep doing this as an idea. I think we're in delay now. We're struggling a bit with the line. We'll let Arif go. Thank you, Arif. He's listening back to himself now on the wireless. Somebody's put the wireless on in the barbers.
Great, well done.
Yeah. So, Andy...
That was like the wrong Keith Cooper, wasn't it? It really was.
Well done, everybody.
Tremendous.
Completely the different person. Somebody who's copied us, he said.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd like to point out...
Knows?
We don't know Will at Will Watson's
Will
bar.
might say we were first.
Yes, we would like to point out at this stage that we don't know what the story is behind this, but there we are.
There we go. It wasn't expected.
Right, should we leave it there?
Yeah.
I like the concept, though. I do like the concept
That's a
of
good concept.
having 3 darts to decide how much you pay for your... It's had a bit of a pop at your beard, though. I think it's quite Gat at the moment.
Bit harsh.
It's quite Mike Gatting.
I need to diet.
Like Gat. Anyway, talking of Gat, we're going to talk cricket next because Steve Harmison joins us. Liam Livingstone said he didn't miss being involved in the England set-up at all and has given the current regime a bit of a shoe-in publicly. We'll see what Harmy makes of that. A little update on his old mate Mark Wood. And Tim Vickery is going to be joining us in the studio as well for a deep dive into his new book, which is the history of South American football at the World Cup, and to talk about the Brazil squad with some Premier League players getting the call up and a few notable absentees as well. That's all to come in the final hour here on talkSPORT.
Quite a weekend, but at the bottom, and that's where we're focusing our attention at this precise moment. Burnley and Wolves look as good as gone, of course, don't they? But draws all round for Forest at home to Fulham, Leeds away at Palace, West Ham against Manchester City, and Spurs at Liverpool. Simon, psychologically, has anyone's point moved the needle for belief?
Well, you look at the West Ham and the Forest. I mean, the Forest obviously didn't play well in Europe last week, I didn't think, but they looked like they were fighting, and West Ham certainly are fighting. But if I'm West Ham and I go and take a point of Man City, that you expected to react after the beating they took at Real Madrid and needed to react to keep themselves into the Premier League race, and they get a point, and yet they still find themselves at the end of the weekend in the bottom three. I think there's an element of dispiriting about that. But by the same token, Nuno Espirito Santo will have built up this morale inside the club because their recent performances have been commendable. They've really dragged themselves from the brink and the precipice of being completely written off by most of us into a position now where a lot of us, or a lot of people, will think they can get out in spite of either the irony of Nottingham Forest because of the managerial circumstance, or at the expense of Tottenham Hotspur and all that goes with that, getting relegated. Yeah. But I still feel, and I'm not going to change my view, that West Ham might find themselves still getting relegated. And I do think, for whatever reason, and I'm happy to be wrong, and I may well be, often am, that some way Tottenham are going to find their way through, and not because of the manager, because the players and the realisation of the players. It will be. We often talk about players in dressing rooms that can get teams across lines.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
I'm Ben Fletcher. Good afternoon. What does Chelsea's punishment mean for City's 115 charges?
I think this is generally positive for City in terms of its leniency. But I wouldn't read too much into it because, of course, this is a sanction agreement. As to when it's coming, I mean, clearly we are now way over the expectations of all the parties. The last information I had is they have no idea when it's coming.
Football finance expert Stefan Borson there. Our very own Simon Jordan isn't convinced City should be celebrating just yet.
This is good and bad for Manchester City. It's good to some extent because it sets a precedent. It's bad if the heat and the noise in the room gets very loud.
Right.
And people start to go, I don't think so. And the heat gets turned up and all of a sudden the focus turns in on it.
City trail Real Madrid by 3-0 heading into tonight's second leg. You can hear Chelsea PSG live on talkSPORT tonight from 7. A rare bit of good news for Tottenham now. Lucas Bergvall is back in training ahead of their meeting with Atletico Madrid. He's been out for 2 months with an ankle injury. Skipper Christian Romero also returned, but Conor Gallagher was absent from the open session. You can hear the Spurs game tomorrow night over on talkSPORT 2. Next, FIFA say they won't consider moving Iran's World Cup games from the USA to Mexico. Donald Trump suggested it wouldn't be appropriate for them to turn up for their own lives and safety. Craig Bellamy's left Wales captain Aaron Ramsey out of his squad for the upcoming World Cup playoffs. Wales face Bosnia and Herzegovina. If they win that, Italy or Northern Ireland lay in wait. And League Two Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new permanent head coach. A caretaker and interim boss over a couple of spells, he says he feels incredibly privileged after 9 years at the club. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
2 more cases of meningitis have been confirmed in Kent, bringing the total to 15. And MI5 apologises and agrees to pay compensation to a woman abused by one of its agents. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Whatever the weather, our range of services is longer than the queue at the Chippy on a Friday night. Tyres, MOTs, brakes and more. Book today at quickfit.com.
Rain clearing out to the northwest, warm sunshine for most of us this afternoon.
Well, Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Let's bring you a bit of good news. Big Alan and Ali McCoyster back on breakfast.
Oh, good. I'm pleased
tomorrow.
to hear that. That's lovely.
Alan wasn't feeling too good at the latter stages of Cheltenham, but we're delighted to say he'll be back with Ali tomorrow from 6 on breakfast.
Brilliant.
Excellent news. Tim Vickery's in. He has a new book out. and it's the South American history of the World Cup, Mundiales, and we're going to be chatting to him a little bit later on and talking about that Brazil squad. No Neymar, which has been quite controversial. And a couple of players in the Premier League who've been very good this season have got call-ups. But before all of that, Liam Livingstone, the England cricketer, has said how little he didn't miss the Cricket World Cup recently. He didn't particularly want to be involved. He had a pretty bad experience, he thinks, towards the end of his time with England. Has been pretty outspoken about the hierarchy there. We thought we would get the thoughts of our very own Steve Harmison, former England fast bowler and Ashes winner. Hi, Harmy.
How are we, Paul? How are we, Andy?
Good, thanks, Harmy.
He has gone in pretty two-footed on Brendan McCullum and Rob Key, hasn't he? Talking a little bit, he says, about he thinks quite poor treatment from the management when he suddenly wasn't involved in the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a. I mean, it was a great article from Matt Roller. Old news a little bit, because on the 8th of January, Liam Livingstone came and spoke to me and Neil Manthorpe on following on, and we didn't push it too hard, as in going out there, because obviously with all the Ashes stuff that's gone on. So either Matt seen it, held it back, and waited to get Liam during the 100, I think, draft, to then push the story out when everything seems to have died down after the World Cup, because it's made headline news. It is a big story because of the way he's been handled. I'd be interested to see other players, especially senior players, who have been handled from this environment and what their experiences were. But it sounds as though, and it's always hard, isn't it, lads? We've seen them, whether it's a book come out and stories that come, especially with a player who's been discarded, they vent their frustrations in the media. So I look at the Brendan McCullum side of it. Brendan McCullum and Rob Key did not natural. Rob Key not natural the director of cricket. I don't think Brendan McCullum is a natural head coach. I think from a leadership point of view, I think we are expecting things that were left wanting a little bit, and we've seen that during the Ashes, that the preparation, McCullum's own admission saying he doesn't apologise for basically running an informal group. I think that informal group part of it might have just come back to haunt him, especially the way Liam Livingstone has just spoke.
The thing about Liam Livingstone, he was such an exciting cricketer and brilliant batsman and a useful bowler. But I just wonder how much he went through a bad trot. He wasn't playing well. So, it's probably not surprising that maybe they should have made more of an effort. I don't know.
Well, his issue seems to be with the treatment and the way it was dealt with. And look, I don't pretend to know Rob Key well. We've met him lots and lots of times. He's been a regular guest on the show. You know him a lot better than us. But one or two things that Liam has said that he said to him, one especially, I've got 100 more important things to do than speak to you. Doesn't sound like Rob Key.
I must admit.
No, it doesn't. But Rob Key did say, let's get the timeline right. In the middle of the summer, Liam Livingstone spoke to us, and in Matt Roller's piece for the ESPN Cricket Info, he credited talkSPORT for what Liam Livingstone said, which was that he hadn't spoke to any of the management. I think you get the timeline right here. Liam Livingstone was captain in the West Indies of the white ball team, and then 6 months later, maybe a little bit more months later, he finds himself out of the England cricket team. And he said he wanted some answers, and then Rob Key said, I think it was at a press conference doing the Ashes squad, I think it was, and he was asked off the back of what Liam had said to me and Neil Manthorpe. Well, and then Rob said, look, he's got my number, why doesn't he ring me? So when Liam's saying, this is what Rob Key said, it doesn't look good. The optics doesn't look good from either way. But you don't know both sides of the story. This is what I'll defend Rob and defend Brendan on. You don't know their side of the story, and you'll never get their side of the story, possibly not. But like what Andy said there, there was a seriously talented cricketer here in Liam Livingstone. Some would say he's a flawed genius when it comes to what he has got at his disposal, as in his skill set, and actually what he provided from an England point of view on the field. I'm looking at some numbers here. I mean, he was dropped in the ODI squad off the back of 15 games where he averaged about 16, 18. That is not form that you can have you can hold your head out and say, look, I don't deserve to be dropped. He talked about being in the article, he talked about the Champions Trophy being the worst tournament he had ever been to. I mean, he averaged 10 in that. He averaged 10 with the bat. So there are both sides to this. I mean, I like Liam. I've got loads of time from Liam, and I think he's a fantastic cricketer. He's gone for $1 million in the IPL.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's obviously great. Will Jack's kind of fulfilled his role, didn't he? And was probably one of England's players of the tournament. Yeah. But he is still a great white ball player, as you say, Harvey. Great IPL contract in the 100 and everything.
Yeah.
We're going to see plenty of him.
He'll be all right. Just a quickie on Mark Wood, who said earlier this week, your old friend, that he's keeping an eye on his career. He said, "I'm thinking of life after cricket." I mean, he's had to come back so many times from injury, hasn't he? I mean, what's the
he's
situation?
already had the taste with the podcast, so it's been very successful.
Yeah.
He's. I mean, it's heartbreaking on him. I've not seen him for a couple of. I passed him on the road 2 days ago. I've not seen him for a couple of weeks. Our cars passed when we were driving side by side. I think he was doing a different school run to me, but I've not spoke to him for a couple of weeks. Look, I think he's been thinking about his future career for quite some time now. Not this injury, not the injury before, possibly the injury before that. I think he's had to have one eye on what he's going to do next. He's still a bit like Simon Jones during my time. These characters, unfortunately, Darren Gough, they were injury prone, and they're good at coming back. They're very, very good at being in the gym by themselves when it can break even the strongest of characters. And Mark will give every chance to get himself back in a position to play cricket for England, because I keep saying to him, you're a long time retired, you're a long time finished, so give yourself the best chance. And he will have to go back to the well again to hopefully come back, whether it's to play for Durham, play in a franchise, or even best case scenario, play for England. But he will do everything he possibly can. He's a positive kid. He'll try his best, and fingers crossed he will come back and play for England. If he doesn't, well, his character, I think he's got a life in the media, Andy's.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He's a great sight when he's actually fit and on it. He's tremendous.
Yeah, well, let's hope he can come back and play again. It would be great. Harmy, all the best. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, gents.
Steve Harmison there, former England fast bowler and regular on talkSPORT. Excellent following on cricket podcast.
Didn't mention Newcastle, Chelsea. I was relieved about that.
Yeah, we got away with it. I got it out just in time for you, Andy. And of course, Newcastle in action tomorrow. That game's still very much alive, although they're getting a bit cocky at Barcelona, aren't they, really?
Yes, I'm sort of a bit torn. I mean, part of me wants Newcastle to do well because it's good for the coefficient and hopefully the 5 places. And part of me still annoyed about Saturday's out. Barcelona win 5-0.
Oh, Andy, you're so bitter. Never give the other team any credit.
That's right.
Tim Vickery is here. He's in the UK. He's popping in to see us. He's got a new book out with Mark Birham. It's called Mundial. It's a South American history of the World Cup. We're going to chat about that and the Brazil squad and other matters from the world of South American football. We're here with Toolstation. Check out their wide range of garden power tools, brands such as Bosch and Ryobi. Next stop, Toolstation.
Find out just how good is this young teenage sensation, Max Dowman. In August, he became the Premier League's second youngest debutant behind Nwaneri, as he became the Premier League's youngest ever goal scorer, which is incredible. On the back page this morning, the likes of John Terry, Alan Pardew, are already getting carried away and calling Dowman them English Messi. And I'm delighted to see joining us now as a resident Arsenal fan and Gabby's biggest wind-up merchant on the planet, Joel Bayer. Joel, good morning,
Morning,
mate.
Joel. Good morning, Ellie and Gabby. How are you both?
Ah, mate, listen, we're absolutely buzzing, but you, I can see you're just rubbing your hands there, mate. That weekend, mate, that might be the weekend that clinched it. Am I going too far saying that?
You're not going too far. I don't think you're going far enough, Ellie, if you ask me, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, an amazing weekend. Can you imagine Max Dowman this morning in a couple of hours?
Oh, mate.
Wow. Oh, mental. Daniel Sturridge did the little walk with him on the show, yeah. But
exactly
really,
what he should be doing.
That was 60,000 Arsenal fans on the weekend, honestly.
But it's been coming, hasn't it? He probably looked at it and thought, I wish I had more game time than I've had.
Yeah.
He's been injured a little bit, so you can't blame him there. But, you know, he's done exceptionally well. The good thing is he's actually got a nice imprint now for when we become champions. He can look back at the season and go, I contributed. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Innit, Gabby? It's amazing, innit,
Ali,
Gabby?
this guy is unbearable, mate. Ali, when Arsenal win the league, right, I've either got to work from home or I'm going on a world tour, mate.
I'll retire.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Normally we have the dog barking in the background and he's live from Flamengo. But yeah, there he's doing it for us now. But he's in the studio. Our South American correspondent, Tim Vickery, is over in the UK because he's promoting his new book with Mark Biram. It's called Mundiales, South American History of the World Cup. Good afternoon, Tim. Good to see you in the flesh.
Yeah, well, lovely to see you. We met not that long ago in the tropics in my adopted city of Rio.
Yeah, in your local CAF.
Indeed, my office, where I had the pleasure of meeting Mrs. Paul as well.
That's right, and long-suffering.
One of the highlights, more than 40 years, good grief. One of the highlights, you were talking about the stuff I do on Brazilian media. And I said, obviously, in a second language, you've got to be a bit more slapstick. And Andy, he just looked at me, mouth dropped, and said, so we get the subtle version of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm afraid you do.
Well, now, we were saying earlier on, the thing about South Americans in the World Cup was when we were kids, like in the 70s, when you were watching in that sort of era, in the 80s, it was very exotic because you never saw these players until you got to a World Cup. You never saw these kits. As Andy said, you never saw this style of football. So it felt very alien. So now it's, everybody knows all these players, but you can't really kind of explain just what it was like.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, the crunch one there is 98. 94, it's a point I'm making in the book. The British fan didn't know the Brazil team before the World Cup. You got to know them during the course of the World Cup, and that was part of the charm of the World Cup. 98, a certain sports manufacturer is garnishing the fruits, and they've got involved. And their marketing campaigns, remember that airport lounge act?
Yeah.
So
the Mushkinada thing, the big song.
That's right. So 98, going into that one, the British fan knew most of the Brazil team. And that was just when I was on that really, I owe it a debt really, because it created interest for what I was doing. But yeah, they are different. So it's a book of history. When South America really, with a bit of French help, gets the World Cup going. If it wasn't for South America, the World Cup wouldn't have got started until the mid-50s, instead of which it starts in 30. So South America has the country who first won it and got it up and running, which is Uruguay. It has the country which has won it more times than anyone else, which is Brazil, and it has the current champions. And it's still, the number of fans from South America who travel to the World Cup. And even like Peru, when Peru went to Russia in 2018, they absolutely flooded the place.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's not strictly South America, because the Americans managed to wheedle it away when they wanted to build a canal. But Panama, when Panama went to their first World Cup in Russia, 2018, the first game is against Belgium. And there are more fans from Panama in the stadium than there are fans from Belgium. It's incredible. But it's South America who really keep this thing alive. It means more to South America than it does anywhere else in the world.
That is true.
You see that in Argentina, the amount of travelling Argentinian fans when their economy's on its backside and they're travelling the world to watch the team.
How they do. People just sell their house. They'll do anything. Yeah. It's funny, though, in the book, I've said this before on the show, but there's a picture of the original stadium in Montevideo. And I went there about 5 years ago.
Same as it ever was.
Absolutely, I never licked
Same as it ever was.
I couldn't believe that it was.
Not a lick of paint since.
No. Exactly the same. It's amazing.
I'm so glad that you got copies of the book, because we had a great launch event last week, but the books hadn't actually turned up. So I'd been through the desert on a launch with no books. It's great that they have actually turned up for you to peruse.
One of the all South American World Cup finals, 1950, that was so key, because it put an absolute nation in mourning. It was a huge moment for Brazil, that defeat in Brazil. They couldn't compute, could they?
They built the Maracanã. My wife's dad helped do it. He's 99 in May.
Wow.
He was one of the construction workers on the Maracanã. He said it was great because there was such a rush to build it in time that there was loads of overtime. Double bubble.
Oh, yes.
He was very happy building it. They built it, and it was a kind of national megalomania. It had to be bigger than Hampden Park. Had to, so they could say biggest in the world, biggest in the world. It was a little bit like, and that was half of building it was half of it, and then winning it is the second half. It's as if the English had built Nelson's Column before the Battle of Trafalgar. And obviously the gods of football, they don't really like this.
No.
And they ended up getting done by Uruguay in the final. If I could have a time machine and go back to any one game in football, that's the one I go back to. I had the chance I talked to some of the players, and they were still with us then. Brazil's coaching 50 and some of the players. And one of the players, he was still dreaming about it. This is nearly 50 years later.
Because they worked, the players
never got over it.
Then the goalie never got over it, did he? I mean, it was...
He burnt the posts.
Yes.
Ceremonially burnt the posts.
And then they decided they looked at what had gone wrong, and they decided to change the kit. Then they had the newspaper competition to decide on what they should wear.
Very superstitious. They were wearing white. The yellow shirt that we remember, immortalised in 1970, was still fairly new at that time. They won it in a World Cup, just for 16 years when it won.
This book covers what I call the glory years of the World Cup. Yeah. I mean, where are you with the idea of a 48-team World Cup? I mean,
I'm a little bit divided, because Africa has to have more places. It really has to have more places. It deserves to have more places. It's been holding Africa back, the fact that it doesn't have so many places. So you get a different lot of African teams qualifying every World Cup, and they don't get the chance to build up a sequence. And no one's going to say, well, all right, Africa can have more places because we'll give a few away. No one's going to do that. So the only way is to build upwards, upwards, upwards and upwards. So I can't really see an alternative, although looking at the work schedule, I'm thinking, how on earth are any of us going to get through that?
Yeah, the amount of games in the kick-off time, certainly from this end. Yeah. The football, as we said, used to be very exotic and so different. You get Cloughy, Paddy Crair and Derek Dougan on the panel in
the Doug.
Oh, the South America, the flamboyant South American way. Now it's not like that. So many of them play in Europe. You don't really notice it to the same
extent. Dunga was the death of that. He was the first one to be
maybe
a European.
The defeat in '82 is part of that. I remember that 82 side when I was 17, and I remember racing home just to watch Brazil.
I think they were as good as 70. They had some
in some ways. Although, if you read the book, you'll see. I mean, part of the thing is, you, Andy, you've watched these World Cups, but there's backstories that you probably don't know. For example, 1970, going into the World Cup, there's a huge amount of fuss about Brazil's number 10. The fella who'd coached Brazil in 62 was amongst those saying, this Pelé geezer, he's past it. We can't have him. We can't. We can't carry this old 29-year-old old man in this World Cup. He's not contributing to the team. You know, obviously, as soon as the World Cup starts and he's unbelievable. Oh yeah, I never said it. Never doubted him. Never doubted him. But you know, the written word, as this book, it hangs around. It's permanent. So there's backstories to the teams, even the teams that you know. I think you will learn something from the backstory of it.
Yeah. It's a bit like Messi going to be going into this World Cup. I mean, you can't believe he's doing another World Cup. I mean, he was brilliant in the last World Cup, but he didn't actually run, did he?
No.
Well, he's unlikely to suddenly break into a sprint.
He sort of walked his way through at one point, I thought he might as well bring his dog onto the pitch. Go for a walk.
There were great. I mean, so many great characters came through this. I mean, obviously in 1990 we had a whole raft of them, but some of the Colombian players, René Higuita, some of the great goalkeepers. I mean, they kind of threw up interesting characters you didn't really see in British football.
Yeah, and can you imagine René Higuita in English football? I vividly remember, that 1990 when he gets done dribbling out of his goal.
Roger Miller.
Colombian TV is saying exactly at the moment that he receives the ball, and here's René Higuita, a wonderful sweeper goalkeeper. Oh no! It's one of those fabulous moments of commentary.
Of course, everybody loves Bielsa here, Leeds fans especially, but everybody appreciates what he's given to the game.
Apart from the Uruguay players at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this. How is that going towards the World Cup?
Oh, wow. When he took over, you're thinking, this could work. Because Uruguay needed a generational change. And you can see a spine of players there. You know, the Barcelona centre-back Araujo, Valverde, Bentancur in midfield, Darwin Núñez up front. He's got some wingers. Right, they can play the Bielsa way. They started off really well. And they beat Argentina in Buenos Aires. They thrashed Brazil in a way that they'd never beaten Brazil before, but that easily. And then they went to the Copa America nearly 2 years ago in the States. Started off very well. But the longer they spent together, the more the players are thinking, we can't stand him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And shortly afterwards, Luis Suarez retired from international football, and he called his press conference, and he just gave a rant about how horrible he is, and how if you pass him in the corridor, he doesn't acknowledge you. And ever since then, they've hardly scored a goal quite often.
Wow.
And the last game, they lost to an understrength United States, 5-1. Wow. After which, Bielsa called a press conference when he spent 2 hours hurling abuse on himself. Yeah, I'm horrible. I worsen everyone I'm around. I'm the kind of fella, if we go for a meal, I'll take a newspaper just so I don't have to talk to you. But I'm going to carry on. Next week, is it next week? They come to Wembley.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
Now, this is such a high-risk game. If they take another shellacking, I think he might even go before the World Cup. So this is not friendly schmendly. This is really high risk.
Yeah, a couple of weeks' time.
I think the USA are going to be interesting because I noticed
Pochettino.
Poch has a thing. I mean, he did this at certain clubs, and he did it at Southampton, he did it at Spurs, and he did it at Chelsea. He never starts that well. It takes a bit of time for the players.
That's kind of been the case in the American job.
That's been the case in the American job. So they might do better than people think in the World Cup.
Indeed, and you never know. After it's all over, he might be free to take charge of a side in a championship.
That would be good, yeah. Oxford away. Tim Vickery's with us. The book by Tim Vickery and Mark Biram is called Mundialis. It's a South American history of the World Cup. It is published by Pitch Publishing. We'll return to it in the next section, but we're going to look at the announcement of the Brazil squad last night, a couple of notable absentees and a couple of interesting call-ups that Tim's going to discuss. And we'll find out a bit more about Uruguay and what England can expect, and lots more besides after the news.
What was more ridiculous? The Chelsea players' huddle or referee Paul Tierney making himself the main character of it? Chelsea have begun performing a pre-match huddle, but doing it in the centre circle of all places. It's drawn boos by opposition fans in recent weeks, with the start of games being somewhat slowed down. And Chelsea opted to do the same huddle before the Newcastle game on Saturday evening. But Paul Tierney, strangely, was right in the middle of it and didn't make any attempt to get out of it. So they had their huddle, and Tierney, bizarrely, was part of it. After the game, Liam Senior said, "No, this was by no means disrespectful by my boys."
My players made a decision that they wanted to be around the ball, to respect the ball, and show unity and leadership. That is not my decision. That was a decision between the leadership group and the team. There is nothing that they're doing with that huddle that is disrespectful to the opposition. And do you know what's amazing? Before the game, it wasn't me. We had a meeting with the referee. My assistant goes in. The first thing he talks about is our huddle. And he says about when I complained about Arsenal being in our half. It wasn't the goalkeeper coach that was in our half, and people who were at that game at Arsenal know why I said what I said. We're not being disrespectful to the opposition. If Paul had focused more on his job, which was to make the right decision, we have a penalty today.
So Liam Senior chose that moment to have a swipe at Paul Tierney. Martin, have you ever seen anything like this? A huddle to respect the ball, which on Saturday evening included the referee in the middle of it.
How are Chelsea's Premier League rivals feeling today when one of their own says this?
If anything, they're quite lucky because we've had a ban before under the previous regime, like which we had a transfer ban when we first went in there. So if anything, they've got away lucky with that.
Former Chelsea player and coach Jody Morris there. The club's escaped a points deduction or a transfer ban for secret transfer payments made during the Abramovich era. Football finance expert Stefan Borson's told White and Jordan, "We don't know if Chelsea also continue to benefit."
Was there a player in 2019 that, because of the payment in 2012, was directed towards Chelsea? Yeah. Were there a couple of academy players that may have gone to Manchester United but ended up at Chelsea? Who knows? And there's no examination of those possible benefits.
In the Champions League, Chelsea versus PSG is live on talkSPORT tonight from 7 p.m. Lucas Bergvall is back training with Spurs ahead of their game at home to Atletico Madrid. He's been out for 2 months with an ankle injury. Now, FIFA say they will not consider moving Iran's World Cup games from the USA to Mexico. Donald Trump suggested it wouldn't be appropriate for them to turn up for their own life and safety. The US-Israeli war with Iran continues. Craig Bellamy's left Wales captain Aaron Ramsey out of his squad for the upcoming World Cup playoffs. Wales face Bosnia and Herzegovina, and if they win that, Italy or Northern Ireland next. And League Two Fleetwood Town have named Matt Lawler as their new full-time head coach. Lawler was appointed as caretaker in January. Get more on the website at talksport.com.
Just before we chat to Tim, just to pick up what Emma was saying there in the headlines, FIFA have denied Iran's request to move their World Cup games away from the USA to joint host Mexico. talkSPORT 3 Max Scott is here with everything you need to know about this fast-moving story.
After Donald Trump said Iran's participation in the World Cup would be inappropriate for their own life and safety, the Iranian sports minister claimed they were in discussion with FIFA to move the team matches from Los Angeles and Seattle to Mexico. But it's understood no such discussions have taken place, and it would be logistically unworkable to make the change. Tickets have already been sold and other participating teams would be disrupted, so FIFA will not consider it. Iran are due to play all their opening games in the US, and the two nations could end up playing each other in the last 32 knockout phase, should they both finish second in their respective groups.
Met each other in '98, didn't they? Our old mate Andy Smart was there.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? With Nick Hancock to make their documentary.
That's right.
Well, Brazil will certainly be there. We'll keep an eye on that story because that's got a long way to play out, certainly. And they announced their squad yesterday, not for the World Cup, but for some upcoming games. No Neymar, who is nursing an injury, and such is his profile in Brazil. Carlo Ancelotti, the coach, had to kind of go into why he hadn't picked him.
Yeah, when he played on Sunday, not very well. I mean, the idea that he's ready to be picked is ludicrous, but we're not dealing with a there is no rationality in this debate whatsoever. I don't actually think Ancelotti wants him, but he'll have to stave off quite a lot of pressure. And every game now that Neymar plays will be a referendum on should he be in, should he be in, should he be in. There are loads of people, including ex-players, who really think he should be. He hasn't really done anything in years and years and years. It's almost like you're dealing with a religious icon. And I think, you know, the Italian coaches, they often go on about mentality. I don't think Ancelotti really trusts him. So he's purposefully raised the bar high. He's got to be 100. He's got to be fitter. He's got to be fitter. He's got to be fitter. So he's given himself room.
He's the perfect manager for Brazil. He's so used to that pressure at Real Madrid. That's also a mad place to manage a football.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
He's not picked Richarlison, which I'm kind of glad of on one level, but I know how much Richarlison likes to play for Brazil, so I just wonder where his head will be at after this.
Yeah, but I imagine, because they get on very well, and Ancelotti loves him. I think he wanted, after Everton, I think he wanted to take him to Real Madrid. And he's consistently picked him. And I think probably it's you keep scoring and you'll be all right for the World Cup.
Right.
And what's interesting about this squad, they play France and Croatia later this month, both in the States. We had thought that this would kind of be his World Cup squad, instead of which he's brought in 8 or something. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he's obviously having a look. He's got a few injuries, and there's a few players who could be called up. Esteban, for example, who I think is in the team.
Yeah.
Who isn't being caught. Just give him a rest. Give him a rest. Let's have this opportunity to have a look at others. I imagine that he said to Richarlison, you have pressing business with your club. Focus on that. You know, do your job there and you'll be all right. But that's given him the chance to look at some others. And who would have thunk it? Bournemouth and Brentford and strikers.
You were telling us the other week that the Brazilian football public very sniffy about minor teams.
Oh, yeah.
So this is quite a departure.
Yeah, I mean,
with respect, I should say, at both those clubs, but they're not the sort of top 5 that Brazilian football fans know.
But these two players have done well against
exactly
teams.
In the case of Ryan, and he was the breakout star of last year's Brazilian Championship with Vasco da Gama, so they know him.
Yeah.
Igor Thiago, they don't know. And the Brazilian press today is full of stories. Who is this guy? You know, because,
really?
Yeah, because the public, lots of people follow the Premier League, but the main driver by far, massively, is domestic Brazilian football. And he played for a big club, Cruzeiro, but when they were in the second division, they were going through bad times. Now, the second division in Brazil is Serie B. From Serie B to Bulgaria, from Bulgaria to Belgium, from Belgium to Brentford. To get in the Brazil squad from this route, that is, as Duke Ellington might have said, taking the B train. It's an extra. You know, he is now the Brazilian who scored more goals than any other Brazilian in a Premier League season. So he is there on merit, but his presence in this squad does not necessarily mean that he's going to the World Cup. Ancelotti's bringing a few in. He's going to have a look at him. But opportunity has knocked.
Yeah. If he scores. I'll tell you what is interesting. You mentioned how key will Casemiro be at the World Cup. And honestly, football's funny because everybody had written this guy off. Yeah. Hadn't we? All had. We thought, oh, no, he's done this fella. He's played too much football, blah, blah, blah. He's been absolutely brilliant recently.
Yeah, and you know what? The first thing he did, Ancelotti, when he came in as Brazil coach, I'm having Casemiro. He'd been out of the fold for a while. I'm having him. And he's the man who organises the midfield. One of the fascinating things about their World Cup challenge is what Ancelotti wants to do is play 4 up front. He wants, and I think it will be Estevão, Rafinha of Barcelona, Mateus Cunha of United and Vinny Jr., I think. So, but if you play 4 up front, unless he finds a way to smuggle 12 on the field and the ref doesn't notice, he's only got 2 in central midfield, one of whom is 34-year-old Casemiro. Now, can they do that in extreme heat in the business stages of a World Cup? That, I think, is one of the most interesting questions of their World Cup challenge. When they won the World Cup, you will remember, Paul, I think you were at the final, weren't you?
Yes, 94, yeah.
You will remember the heat.
Oh, yeah.
And it was unreal. That side was a possession-based side, but it was one that really packed the midfield. And it left the 2 strikers, Bebeto and Romario, it kind of left them up front, so, and it packed the midfield. This side is kind of the opposite. So whether this side will be able to play the way that he wants to play in the conditions in which the World Cup is going to be played, I think it's...
Well, it was an incredibly low-energy match, wasn't it?
It was a dreadful game.
Too hot and the players just couldn't deal with it.
And now, I think the slight difference between 94 and we saw in the Club World Cup, these breaks.
Yeah.
We didn't have that in 94.
No, they just had to get on with it.
And I think that does make a difference. And actually, teams were able to put a lot of energy into... I was surprised in the Club World Cup, actually.
Yeah.
It's had an effect in the season
it's
now.
still hard on the Irish, if they get through. Do you remember them in
Big Jack in 94? Yeah, it was great.
For those people in the Irish team who start off blue and have to spend a week in the sun just to be white. But imagine Scotland against Brazil in the afternoon heat of Miami.
Yes.
That's what's coming up.
You sort of fancy Brazil in that one.
You sort of do, yeah.
What about this
Finalissima? Yeah, now Argentina and Spain. There's been all sorts of reports over here why it's not happening. Argentina want too much money, etc. What are they saying in South America?
Argentina and Spain, the champions of South America and the champions of Europe in this Finalissima. It's the second time. The first one, Argentina wiped the floor with Italy at Wembley. It was supposed to be played in Qatar in a couple of weeks, and obviously the war situation there has precluded that one. And so there was negotiations. Spain said, let's do it in the Bernabeu in Madrid. Argentina said, well, how about the Monumental in Buenos Aires? And there was the idea of doing it in Rome. Maybe
on the idea that they were going to do it in 2 legs, one at the Monumental and one...
But really why it's not happening? Because Scaloni didn't want to play it in the first place. He didn't even want to play it in Qatar. He wanted to play this game last year. He didn't want to play this game this year. You think it's too soon towards the World? It's too soon before the World Cup to put their prestige on the line. So he didn't want to play the game. So Argentina's negotiating strategy was, let's find a way to ensure that this game doesn't happen.
Big money for them, though.
Yeah, it is, but they'll do it. They can do it next year or something. They can find another date for it. And the problem was that Europe starts its World Cup, because of the Nation League, Europe starts its World Cup qualification campaign so late that there were no dates available last year. The interesting question is, on Argentina at the moment, don't have any games. This last chance to get together. What it looks like they might do is bring the players back to Buenos Aires, let them, see their families and so on. Maybe fix up a friendly there in Buenos Aires and really have training sessions. But there are a few, and everything's gone very well for Argentina since the World Cup, but there are still a few unanswered questions there. Mainly, how on earth do they replace Di Maria, who is the best player now in Argentine domestic football, but will not play the World Cup unless there's a late change of heart. How do they replace him? They haven't really worked that one out yet. And the key question, I think, for their World Cup campaign, it's the same defensive unit that nearly let them down in game after game after game in Qatar.
They're young players.
They've got young players. From the midfield forward, they got young players. The defensive unit, they haven't got anyone at all. Yeah. No one has really come through. So Otamendi still gets a game, although he's suspended for the World Cup opener. So it's a chance maybe for Lisandro Martinez of United, maybe a chance for Senesi of Bournemouth.
He's a good player.
At least Christian Romero will be fresh because he'll pick up a couple more reds. He'll probably only play about twice before the end of the season. Yeah. Well, Tim, we wish you well with the book.
Thank you very much.
Just a reminder, it's called Mundial. It's a South American history of the World Cup. It's published by Pitch Publishing. Mark Beer and Tim Vickery have got together to put this. And one of the listeners says, book sounds superb, says Andrew in Basingstoke. I'll definitely be buying a copy. So that's one you've sold.
Cheers.
And even the Gooners have been nice to you. You're a fellow Spurs fan. Rob, the Arsenal fan, said, I parked my car 10 minutes ago and I can't get out because I love listening to Tim when he's on talkSPORT. His stories are so interesting.
You can fool some of the people all of the time.
There we are.
Just done.
So we'll catch up with you next week back home, I guess.
Yeah.
And we'll be building up to that Uruguay game on the Friday.
Yes. Yeah, won't that be good? Andy, it's been lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
I can't usually do Tuesdays because I'm on Brazilian TV, so it's always Paul and Charlie broadcaster, the notorious Baker.
Yeah.
So it's been lovely to come into the show and see you in such rude health.
Indeed. Good to see you, Tim. All the best. Tim Vickery back next week, our South American correspondent. Ramon Calderon, no less, the former Real Madrid president, joining us next to look ahead to tonight's game against Manchester City. We're here with Toolstation. Get your toolbox essentials this spring. Big savings on screws and fixings. Next stop, Toolstation.
Where does Bruno rank in Manchester United's all-time great midfielders? I'm just going to start by saying I think he's the best player in the Premier League right now. I don't think anyone is performing to the levels that he is. I can't think of anyone at Arsenal that's doing that. I can't think of anyone at Manchester City that's doing that week in, week out, consistently at the highest level. And he's doing it in the position that he's supposed to be playing in. Completely different where Ruben Amorim played him, and makes that decision even more crazy when you think of what he's doing right now. So fair play to Michael Carrick. And also, does he get into an all-time Manchester United Premier League 11? Because we were thinking maybe Ryan Giggs on the left, Cristiano Ronaldo or David Beckham on the right, Rooney up top. Are you putting Bruno Fernandes in the 10 with maybe Keane and Scholes in midfield? That might be another one. 8-10-89, get in touch. But Manchester United obviously go clear in third with that result. It's 7 wins in 9 under Michael Carrick. And fans are begging Casemiro to stay as well, I suppose, as Michael Carrick, after he scored again. While Wayne Rooney says Carrick should be given the job full time, Carrick's enjoying himself.
I'm in this position at the moment, doing the best I can, and loving it, obviously, and keep pushing for more. You know, we want to make the team as good as we can. We want to keep improving everything, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But in terms of conversations, we get on great.
Yeah, I obviously he's doing an incredible job. Like I said, 7 wins out of 9, and I would be surprised if they didn't give him the job in the summer, given how it's gone. I think they should get Champions League, but obviously playing 1 game every 2 weeks, you probably should get Champions League. But it depends if big managers come available in the summer.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it. Big charge, chipped in, Valverde trying to help it on. There is his hat-trick. Manchester City's Champions League hopes in rack and ruin before half-time in the first leg.
Been taught a lesson tonight, Manchester City.
We'll be there, we will try with our people, and at the end, we will try.
Kvaratskhelia up to the edge of the area, right-footed shot! Oh, what a brilliant goal!
Very close to being an outstanding team, but we have to overcome this hurdle.
Ayulu at the back post, Kvaratskhelia! It's
3-2 ain't a disaster. 4-2 is bordering on disaster. 5-2 is a disaster.
It's not over. It's not over yet. We've seen amazing turnarounds in football. Fight towards goal by Aspilicueta. Barra's there! And Barra scored! And Chelsea most certainly need that.
Yeah. Yes, Chelsea a mountain to climb against PSG. 3 goals behind. We're bringing that one.
Everest.
We're bringing that on.
Kilimanjaro put together.
2 at 8 o'clock. Arsenal, Leverkusen, 1 each at the moment on talkSPORT. And of course, just the little matter of Manchester City versus Real Madrid. We'll keep you in touch with that. That's 3-0 from the first leg. Let's get the thoughts now of a man who was president of Real Madrid, and of course, by definition, a huge Real Madrid fan. Ramon Calderon joins us. Good afternoon, Ramon. Hello, Ramon.
Ooh.
We've lost.
There. Oh dear.
We will try and get him back in a moment. I thought I was reading. I think it was Bernardo Silva did the press conference yesterday. It was really. I think we've got Ramon.
Okay.
Ramon, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good to appreciate you joining us again. I suppose the mood there in Madrid is confident without being complacent because, Manchester City are a very good team and 3-0 leads have been overturned in the past.
Real Madrid have never been knocked out in history after having won 3-0 in the first leg. So let's hope it isn't broken, that record tonight. Of course, we are confident, but, everything can happen. Man City is a very good team, good players. So let's see what happens tonight. But, of course, a good advantage to be confident.
Going into the first game, everybody thought City was going to win. Were you surprised how Real Madrid triumphed in the end? I mean, 3-0 is pretty emphatic.
It was difficult to accept, I suppose, for Man City when Real Madrid was playing with 7 players, not usually in the starting lineup. Many injuries, as you know, some of them suspended. But it's true that we played very well, and maybe we were surprised about the attitude of Man City. They were maybe, I don't know, the way they play. Sometimes the coaches do things that is not understanding for any amateur. But it was really exceptional without Mbappe, the one who usually, as you know, scored the goals, and Valverde is not precisely the one who has to score in this time 3 times. It was really, really very, very good for us.
He scored again at the weekend. He is scoring a lot of goals at the moment, and 2 of the goals were fantastic. Great touches. He is in great form, Fede Valverde, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's a very good player, but of course, it's not usual that he scores 3 goals. I don't know if he did it before, but it's very unusual to see him scoring 3 goals. And I think tonight, I don't know if Mbappe will be playing from the beginning, maybe, and that could be for us important. He is the one who can score goals easily, and if he does, it will be, in my opinion, very difficult for Man City to overcome that distance with 3 goals in Bernabeu, and if we score 1 goal in Etihad, it will be difficult for Man City to go through.
Yeah. I wonder if probably Arbeloa will make his decision based on the game situation. If he needs Mbappe, he has Mbappe, but if he doesn't need Mbappe, why risk him?
Maybe. He hasn't been playing the last, I think, 1 month, so he wouldn't be just using him if it is not necessary. In these matches, always the point is how it starts. If Man City scores in the first, let's say, 10, 15 minutes, thing will be difficult. The atmosphere in the Etihad will be, I suppose, very, very important for the team, supporting the players, and we know how these matches are. They're very special, and well, we'll see. But it's clear that we have an advantage, and I hope we can keep it tonight.
How do you think the manager's doing? Because he was sort of parachuted in mid-season. Are you happy with him?
You never know. I think it was to do that in the middle of the season is always something that is a problem for the players. They don't know really what's going to happen, and in this case also the point is that the Arbeloa, as you know, is a coach without any experience. He was coaching young teams only. In 5 months, one team in the third division. So, but in this club, as I always say, to win is an obligation. Yeah. Then when you lose 2-3 matches, as it happened 2 months ago, everything was a problem, a crisis. Then you win 2 matches in a row, and everything changes. So, but I don't know if Arbeloa will be until I'm sure until the end of the season. It's clear, but I don't know if the president has decided to keep him at the end of the season. Yeah.
Well, Ramon, we appreciate your time as always. Enjoy the game tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Ramon Calderon there, the former president of Real Madrid. We'll keep you in touch with that one. You can react in the Sports Bar. Jamie O'Hara and Jermaine Pennant from 10. And it's Arsenal Leverkusen here on talkSPORT. Chelsea PSG on talkSPORT 2. And as we said, Sports Bar, the place to be at 10 to have your say after a big night of European football.
Bit of pride I'm hoping for
a good performance.
English
you
clubs.
never know.
I don't expect any of them to go through, but, well, I do expect Arsenal to go through, but just, play with a bit of pride. I'm hoping we can win on the night.
So stick around for all the live games on talkSPORT this evening. Coming up next to build up to them is Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy to bring you Drive.
Max has a lot of professionals ahead of him before getting that opportunity. But one of the things that you can say about Arteta is that he has faith in him. He trusts him to come on with some minutes. And I know you mentioned about the Premier League, potentially if Arsenal can wrap it up a bit earlier. Yeah. Of course, it's looking like they're having that opportunity to. Then maybe that's where we'll see Max getting more minutes. But again, there are, of course, other players in front of him that do want to play.
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because I could imagine Max thinking, look what I've done. When am I